Welcome to Unrolled, episode 134.
34.
Yeah, 134. My name is Mike. Across the table is Chuck. To my right is Dr. Drew. And our special guest returning, Pastor Corey. So, welcome back. Welcome back to the new finished spot. Do you like our decor?
Right.
It's great.
Yeah.
I love it.
So, we were going to get a water feature, but the walls crumble so much, I didn't want to, you know what I'm saying? Like its own waterfall of debris. So, I'm going to try this bird dog.
We did get Mary Magdalene for you over here.
Yeah, we covered her up.
I saw I pictured her.
Yeah. You see the best.
The whole time. It just came to life, man. I was like, oh, that's what I thought all along. That's awesome. Ooh,
So, no. What do you need? You need a cutter? You need a cutter. I got one over here. Yeah. That's a V cut right there. That's a good one.
Cut it.
Pastor Corey's got the nub nuance single roast. Fuck, bro. We need a fan. You can go downstairs and get a fan?
We do need a fan.
You can go get a fan?
You'll have to put it like way over there, but some air would be better than no air.
Yeah, it's stagnant. All right. Continue on.
Continue
I
on.
can't run without you.
Yeah, you can.
Just pause it.
Can't have dead air.
Well, don't let it die.
So
Can't have dead air.
Chuck, you've been wanting Pastor Corey back for a hot minute. What do you got?
I mean,
What do you got for him?
nothing.
Nothing.
I got nothing.
That's great. For
I can tell you that Challenger shit's bullshit.
for 6 weeks, I've been
Tell
just
you
hanging
that.
with kids playing Fortnite. So
You haven't invited me to a fucking game. I've been playing with my kids.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man, then we could probably actually hang out at that point.
Yeah, because I have my Xbox account from 20 years ago that still works. Like a dude, I told Chuck and them that already. Like, he came in the office. He's like, "Hey, I know you won't buy yourself an Xbox or a PlayStation, and I know you want to play with your kids. So he's like, here you go." He gave me his fucking Xbox, like his Xbox Series X or whatever it was. Gave it to me and the whole setup. So I've been playing with them. And they released the Wolverine, so
I saw that.
I had to download it. Yeah, I said I would never buy
With
it.
the helmet.
Yeah,
I forget what it's called.
Weapon
Weapon X. There it is. Weapon X. Yeah. That's right.
I
saw
said
that.
I would never buy anything off there.
This thing lit.
Nope.
Kinda.
It's very big. I don't smoke a lot of stogies, you know.
Kinda lit.
Just work.
Yes.
Uh,
What were you using before? You gotta flip the top.
that big old bad boy.
Big old giant thing that nuked my face.
Probably put it in the window.
I understand what you're saying.
There's no outlet over there?
There we go. Good enough?
Yep.
Thanks. Yeah, Weapon X. I just saw that. And they have is it Murph on there as well? They have him on there from Marvel as well too. The guy that shapeshifts or whatever.
Shut up, nerds.
Morph.
So now Morph, there it is.
Shut up,
It's been
nerd.
a while, man. It's been a while.
You
yeah.
said Murph. I was
I
like,
thought-
are we doing fucking wads now or something? Or
It's
what?
been a long time, bro. I think I used to watch X-Men in the morning on Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. as a little kid, and then I saw Disney Plus had something, but that's it. So
It's like a remake. It's like X-Men '97.
It's gonna be terrible if it's on Disney.
It's the same visual aesthetic as those original ones, but different, kind of
right?
different still. So, dude, those original ones, yeah, I watched them too. But then, dude, I remember it when I was little. Pizza Hut, if you got a certain pizza, they would give you a VHS tape of the X-Men series. So I have like 3 of those VHS tapes from when I was a kid. So,
that's awesome.
fucking nerds.
That's awesome.
Her? Get out. Go. I ain't got time to be distracted by your worthless chime-ins. Go on. Judy, you better tell this sumbitch to walk the fuck out right now, or we done for the day.
Have you seen that show?
Go.
The Righteous Gemstones.
The Righteous Gemstone?
no.
That's hilarious. It's John Goodman. What's his name?
Kenny Powers.
Kenny Powers. That's the one guy that's hilarious. He plays mostly bad guys, but he's funny as hell in that part. It's great. They're
It's about
they're,
like mega church
they're
pastors.
televangelicals.
Oh, yeah.
They're televangelicals.
Really?
It's fucking hilarious. It's on HBO. It's
That is
hilarious.
It's
It's some of the funniest shit I've ever seen.
You know that bird dog's pretty good, actually.
Yeah, I know.
Straight.
Yeah.
Just straight.
So, I said to Chuck, I said, you've been wanting Pastor Corey on for a year. I said, what do you got for him? He's like, nothing.
Nothing.
Well, all you wanted was him
Nothing.
back.
Just your company.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
All
I
right.
thought you were gonna hate me initially, and then we became like
Why? Because I'm an atheist?
best friends. No, I think.
Are you, though?
No,
I'm an agnostic.
There you go.
I'm not an atheist.
And so we made some progress then from the last year, huh?
Hey,
No, I've always been an agnostic.
Oh, okay.
I'm not stupid enough to tell somebody something don't exist just
Yeah.
because I don't believe it
That's fair.
exists.
That's fair. That's fair.
have you seen the gaping hole in Alton's getting bigger?
I've seen that it's got 2 light poles now.
I told you them light poles were heavy, didn't I?
What happened?
That's what I said.
Yeah.
You know what I almost did to you the other day?
What?
Almost. I actually typed it and then I deleted it. I seen something about Walker running for mayor. Mm-hmm. And it was on the Advantage. And it was getting lots of views. And I almost typed, I said, well, Mike Weller said he was running for mayor.
Well, actually, so funny.
I had it in there and I was going to hit send. And I was like, oh, he probably doesn't need all this shit right now.
So, funny thing, the goal was to run for mayor. So,
Mayor Goldie Wilson.
but when Walker came to me, and I'd rather him, take, because it's not even that I want to get in at all. It was to prevent someone else from winning over the incumbent. So, so I'm cool with the incumbent. I don't care. Walker was really good for downtown, saved us during the flood. Him and Bob Barnhart really knocked it out. I don't know if Bob would come back as street department director. I'm not sure. But yeah, Brent came to me last year, and
Is he a Texas Ranger?
yeah.
Okay. As long as he's got the badge, that's all I care about.
Yeah, we all have badges in town.
Right.
Yeah, so
Wild West in
right.
You're
So
a Texas Ranger.
right, it's that's his last name though.
Well, yeah, wasn't that Chuck Norris's last name?
I don't know. I never watched that.
Yeah, I didn't even,
You know what I've seen what Chuck Norris is in? I've seen
oh, that exercise video where he's like
Bruce Lee
sliding
movie.
around.
the Bruce Lee movie Chuck Norris was in. Deadly Game,
Game
Game
of
of Death, Game of Death, and I've seen. Seems like he was in another movie with a bunch of them.
Was it with other Chinamen?
Total Gym. He was selling Total
No,
Gym.
it seems like he was in another movie with a bunch of action heroes.
Oh,
Was he in the Dependables?
yeah.
Yeah. So there you go.
Expendables.
Whatever.
The Dependables.
Whatever. Well, they're all that age.
They're wearing Depends. Dependables.
That's awesome. that's going to be their sequel, The Dependables.
Should we go and get these? No, I gotta shit myself.
Yeah, you just keep fucking fighting crime and shit your pants at the same time if you're wearing
Right.
The Depends.
Right. See?
Right.
Got to figure it out.
Yeah.
Right.
So Pastor Corey's been on sabbatical for like 7 months now. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, have you gotten like some penicillin for that sabbatical?
No.
Since you said nobody knows what it means. Well, I hate
Still a rash, man.
I hate when I catch the sabbaticals.
Full blown.
Full-blown sabbaticals,
Drew's
bro.
probably got some ointment for that.
Right.
That's what happens when you get that COVID shot. You get a sabbatical.
Yeah, you get the sabbatical. Good times.
They're just coming back.
Right.
Yeah.
Dude, I was at Village, and somebody behind me who preceded her conversation with hacking said that they just caught the COVID. So luckily, yeah,
thing, huh?
yeah, it's still a thing now.
Is
Yeah.
it the new bird flu yet?
No, it's Decepticons, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they're trying to take over and steal our energies. Isn't that right? Isn't that what they did?
Was she over it or she just out spreading it?
Well, she said that
Oh,
they were.
she's spreading it.
Jesus.
Well, she was trying to spread it, but I was like, I ain't catching that sabbatical, bro. So I fucking
Yeah.
left. I am not fucking with
I
that
got that
sabbatical.
hot and ready $5. No sabbatical for me, brother.
That sabbatical's a gift that keeps on giving.
Right,
You gotta watch
right,
it.
yeah. So you took sabbatical from preaching.
Yeah, from really all aspects of leadership in the church. So no preaching, no teaching, no coaching, no counseling,
Did you
no oversight for other churches. I sit on some boards,
Right,
for some
sure.
other churches and stuff. And
Do you have to? So, like, when you sit on a board for other churches, you want to take a sabbatical, and did you determine an amount of time, or did you say not?
no, it's 12 weeks total.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was joking with the 7
And
months.
so,
So
we're,
yeah, well, that's why I was like, bro, it's called quitting. Right,
ya.
right. I'm gonna take a sabbatical. I'll see you in 15 years.
yeah, right.
Keep me on.
Just keep paying me.
Yeah, just keep paying
Let
me.
the money come.
Right,
That's
right.
that ghost meme. He
Yeah.
just disappears.
Well, normally when you work for a corporation and they offer sabbaticals, you don't get paid, but you don't lose your position, your time in, all that stuff. But normally it's more like no more than 30
Is
days
that
or
typically for
45.
like professors and stuff?
No, not so much professor. Like, dude, Starbucks actually
They do a sabbatical.
they do sabbaticals. Yeah, they want your mental health to be
Yeah.
crispy for that fucking lukewarm fucking bacon, egg, and cheese bullshit they fucking give you.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, nothing against Starbucks, but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean they're there when I need them. So
Yeah, so it's been 7 weeks, man. So we celebrated 10 years as a church in March 15th,
Mm-hmm.
our 10-year celebration. And I was supposed to take a sabbatical at 7 years, but COVID hit right before that.
Okay.
And we weren't stable enough to leave.
right.
And so now we're, we'll find out, hopefully stable enough to be gone for 3 months, which is a long time.
Yeah.
But it has been like genuinely good and restful to not have to worry about everybody else's marriage or
So-
everyone else's kids or
Sure.
whatever.
Yeah.
So when you sorry,
I know.
do you mind?
Go ahead.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I can take a pause.
You sure?
I'll write it down.
So basically, you just gave God the wheel and all that shit.
Right.
That's right, man.
Right.
Let Jesus.
Well,
take the
that's
wheel.
actually that's where I was going. Was
Yeah.
so? Do you appoint people to take this role? Is this like a proving ground for them during your sabbaticals
It's
to see who steps up, or
kind of, yeah. It's also
Okay.
a proving ground for me,
So
right? To
it's like a
see
pressure
do
test.
they need me. so
what if they
it kinda
don't?
goes both ways.
What if
I
they
know.
don't?
I guess I
Work at Walmart?
Learn more about cigars, man.
Yeah,
move,
yeah.
move to Alden.
No, I mean that's good though. If like it shows.
all
that-
these are bad ideas?
It shows that you like if they don't need you, like
Yeah.
you've done your job well, right? But like they still need
Yeah.
you because
Or you've done it really poorly.
Yeah.
Well,
It
I
could
mean,
go either way.
Well,
Well, it's like a pressure, it's like a pressure test, right?
yeah,
Kinda,
and that's what folks don't get is like it took. We started preparing for it last October.
Okay.
So I started delegating out stuff last October.
Right.
Had some of my homies come in and preach for the summer, like 5 different dudes that I really respect and look up to, come in and speak for me. Had to like get the majority of what I had to do. This is gonna sound, maybe it sounds bad when I say it, but I don't do like physical tasks. I have to navigate a lot of people.
right.
And so I had to delegate everything I do. I had to delegate out to other people, I guess.
Right.
But it's not. It's weird because not like a lot of physical tasks. It's a lot of checking in different groups of people.
Sure, sure.
So it could be pastors or church planters. It could be leaders in our church, our staff, so on
Right.
and so forth.
Right.
But it's all people stuff for the most part. At this point, it's
Right.
all people stuff. So
Okay.
yeah. So we started last October. It took a great deal of work to be able to leave for 3 months.
Right.
And it's interesting because in a lot of like you think about business, running a business. I read a lot of books on sabbatical, how to do it well, and what was
Wait.
interesting.
You read books on how to take a vacation.
Yeah,
You read books on how to do what every homeless guy out there is doing right now.
yeah. I just got on Yelp.
That's a lifetime vacation.
And he's not, and they can't even read.
That wasn't.
right.
Hey, that wasn't a homeless guy. That was in case Corey couldn't make it. I had him
Yeah,
lined
they
up.
couldn't even
So I just
read.
got on like Yelp,
He's like-
and started
Right.
looking up local things that were fun to
Not
do.
out.
Right.
But it took a lot of preparation. But no one. What I was going to say was that no one talked about the prep work it takes to be able to leave well.
Sure.
And I'll find out when I get back if I left well or not.
Right. Right.
I have no idea.
So have you been going to service on Sundays there? then?
Not at Heights, no. No, there's a church in Belleville I like called August Gate. They're like family, so I
Yeah.
go there when I'm in town.
Dang. So they're probably really missing you.
Or they're just freaking throwing a party, one or the other.
Do you need me to go and run some recon?
Yeah, go in there and take a. They did do this is kind of funny. I mean, I should have sent a picture. They made a cardboard cutout, life-size cardboard cutout of me.
There you go.
That's idol worship.
It is. That's what I thought.
Right.
And they've been passing around, like taking pictures with it and bringing it out and doing stupid things with it. So I'm there. I'm just flat.
So are
More
you?
flat than usual?
So are
I
you?
would say you're kind of flat anyway.
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
So let me ask you. You said you were supposed to take one in like after 7 years. Is
7
that is that like a church rule?
For the circle of people I roll with, yeah.
Okay.
7 years and then 5 years after that. we'll do
Okay.
Another one, yeah. But COVID had hit, as y'all remember.
Right.
We joked about that a second ago. And then that would have put us COVID actually hit on our 6-year celebration on March 15th.
Right.
Which was interesting because that's when we planted the church, was March 15th, 2014. And then March 15th,
Jesus
2020.
smited you.
He
You did
smited
something
us,
wrong.
man.
You did something wrong.
Either we did or someone else did. And
Right.
so
China.
a year later, we just still weren't healthy enough.
You don't need to quote that, bro. China.
Oh, I think it's digital, though. So it's quoted.
Yeah.
If we all glitch on that moment.
My lizard eyes came out.
Right.
Right.
Fucking system.
Right.
And so, anyway,
fuck.
yeah,
Right
man,
back
so
to it.
Didn't
So that's
feel
pretty-
comfortable to leave.
That's
but-
yeah, no, that's I get that, man. It's so when you read books on taking a sabbatical, when you took
I still
books,
can't believe that.
yeah. Well, so did you read them obviously beforehand? Was it more mental, like how to fucking separate yourself from work, or
Yeah.
were these like preacher oriented books?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. And so it's just like different types, And so like there's like working sabbaticals where like I might come work at a cigar shop,
Right.
And so I'm still in the community, still hanging out, still
Right.
being busy, just
Right.
using gifts a different way.
Mhm.
There were some there's like you stay at the church, but then you work on like a book or you work on something like for your church, for your people.
Right.
And there's some, which is the one I'm doing, which is like you just completely like check out and you literally learn how to work on your family.
Nice.
Learn how to work on being
You.
present with my kids
you.
instead of telling
Right.
them no.
Right. Right.
And that's the main thing. Because if you can't, in my world, right, if you can't manage your household, you shouldn't be a pastor.
No. Right.
And so, and the kids, we asked them, actually one of my buddies asked them last night, like, what's different about Dad? What do you see different in Dad in the last 7 weeks? And my 11-year-old said, he just seems happy.
There you go.
And that's like good, but it's also super sad
Sort of.
to have your 11-year-old go, well, you finally look happy now that you're not doing your job. That's, it's like, oh, dang.
Well, I mean, who, dude? If we all took the time off, we'd all be happier.
Yeah.
We all got to do shit, and there's stresses that come with it, you know.
Just because it makes you stressed to do your job doesn't mean that you love it or it's not what you're supposed to do, right?
Yeah, no,
I've
no.
had that discussion.
Yeah, work should be hard.
Yeah,
It's called work.
Yeah, it's I'm not unhappy all the time, but I'm I'm sure you are too. But like,
No, I'm never stressed at all, bro.
no, never,
No.
no, never. But like I feel unhappy a lot of the times because of what I have to do to be away from the kids. Like I told these guys a couple weeks ago,
Right.
and this weekend, I mean, it was just 4 days, but I didn't have to do anything,
Yeah.
and it was super fucking nice
Yeah.
to be able to
Heck yeah.
be with them.
So it's weird though, because like if I take, let's say I take, so like in September, I'm going to be gone for like 10 days, right? So that means like all orders, everything's got to be fucking up to snuff, everything's got to be set for, basically 2 weeks, and but it takes a day or 2 days or 3 days to get out of the mindset of worrying, of checking account. Like, so retail is going to be obviously different than, running a church.
Yeah,
but it's like you got to make, it's like, do these numbers hit or this is that, blah, 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 blah,
Yeah. And when's that date? When is that coming?
September
He
something.
needs to make
Yeah.
sure he stocks up on cigars.
So,
before he
and
goes.
we're just in the beginning of July, and you're already thinking about it.
Oh, we've been planning this trip for a hot minute, bro.
Yeah.
But that's what, because this is more than, if I worked at Starbucks, since I already brought up one fucking spot, if I worked
Yeah.
at Starbucks, I'd be like, yo, see ya, peace, I'm out.
Yeah.
But, I got to keep all my baristas fucking grinding coffee and making fucking espressos,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's different whenever. That's what a lot of folks don't get is just the pressure of running your own organization.
Jesus, do you want like a little whiskey with that 7-Up or just drinking on fucking 7-Up?
That was half of a glass. of
Fuck,
whiskey.
you're so fucking mature with that shit, bud.
It's because the pastor's in the room.
Look
I
how-
guess,
look how
right.
Dark, look how dark it is. Jeez.
I don't think it's dark at all.
Yeah. A lot of folks
Well, you're racist.
don't understand the pressure that comes with being
With leaving.
with leaving, but being responsible for the organization,
So, and it's not just like
like the whole thing.
right. So it's like, that month, I got to make sure all those bills are paid beforehand. It's just all that bullshit because, I don't want to be gone on, I think we're gone like 10, 12 days or some shit, right? So, I don't want to fucking mid fucking time get a fucking WhatsApp call because I have to get a WhatsApp number since I'm going to be overseas. So I got to get a WhatsApp number, whatever the fuck that is, so I can reach, somebody can call me and then fucking go, oh, hey, our power's out. Like you didn't pay the fucking power bill, or whatever. So,
Yep.
it's
Say where you're going. Where you're going?
I'm going to go to Greece and then to Venice.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so,
That'd be beautiful.
It should be, hopefully.
Do you remember that episode of I Love Lucy where they're stomping grapes? He's going to do that and pick olives for olive oil.
I'm going to tell you something right now. I stomp grapes in Grafton every fucking year.
Is that fucking beautiful?
Dude, it feels actually really nice. I ain't
Like
going to lie.
squirts up between your toes.
Yeah, I like it with squirting on my toes, bro.
It's nice. It's nice.
It's a very nice.
Very
No, it's a
Hey,
very
if you
nice.
video that, you probably put it on OnlyFans and
I already
make more
did.
money while you're gone.
No, I own like $25 when I put my feet on there, bro. I'm the only one that has to pay OnlyFans to host videos.
I can tell you what. So, and I knew that Pastor Corey was on sabbatical. I've asked him no less than probably 24 times to hang out in the last 7 weeks, and he's always got something going on.
Well, he's been
With his-
traveling, too.
No, yeah, but he's that and with his family, and this is the first time in 7 weeks that he's got to hang out. So,
Yeah,
I appreciate this.
Well,
Thank you
welcome.
for asking all the time, man.
So,
Yeah.
did I see?
I
Were you
do.
down? Were you
I know,
down
I
here?
love
Were you down here? Were you on sabbatical when you were down here?
I was about to leave
Okay.
when I came with the dudes.
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
you wrote me when you said you were down.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, so those guys are
Was Funkhauser one of your preachers while you were gone?
no,
Chris?
he wasn't. No, but he's a good buddy of mine.
He's a very good dude.
Yeah.
I really
I love
like
that
him, man. That was just one of those dudes. I met him, man, and we, like when nobody was in, we could have a talk, like a,
Yep.
a little bit on the vulnerable side talk, about personal shit, and man, we were just like two peas in a pod on a lot of things, so that was
Yeah,
really
man.
dope. So
Yeah, I'll tell you, he's when it comes to like theology, like the study of God, he is one of the sharpest dudes
No shit.
in my toolbox.
nice.
I'll call him about something crazy that I know nothing about, like ancient history, Israel, and I'll be like, "Hey, Funk, can you tell me about whatever the Assyrian, exile for Israel?" And I'm about to preach on it in the next couple months, and he will give me a full download session, like
Right.
off the dome.
No shit.
Yeah, just unbelievably intelligent. You should have him on here sometime.
Yeah.
He'd be a way better
Dude,
pastor
there's
guest
not.
than me.
He lives in what, Troy?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and he works in Alton. So
He's
I,
great, dude.
I don't know if he would go from Alton back to Troy, come back to Alton, fucking
Yeah.
6:30. So, because he's off at like 4 p.m.
Yeah, so he's incredible. The guys that I come with are like a advisory team that I put together for myself, and so all those guys are high level executives in their roles, in their
Nice.
jobs.
Nice.
And so the one thing I've known is like I know enough, and I think more men need to admit this. Like I know enough to know I don't actually know anything,
Yeah.
and I know enough to know I don't know anything, and so I need some help.
Right.
And those dudes, man, they are unbelievable men. Like they lead well in their organizations all across the board. And
There
so,
was one of them that looked very familiar. I can't remember who I knew out of there besides you.
it might have been if he was bald, the bald guy. The
Yeah.
only thing I would guess would be JC because he's regularly around the Old Herald area, and y'all were there for the. He was there at the. You talked to him at the Eclipse.
Yeah, yeah.
He came to me and said they asked where you were or why
Yeah.
you weren't here after when you
Yeah.
got into the conversation.
Yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever.
Right.
JC, yeah, he's great.
Okay.
Yeah,
That was a good day.
he
It was a
leads.
good day.
Yeah.
Did not eat enough mushrooms that day.
No.
Yeah.
No, I did not.
What was
should-
the
we should
what's
try
the
that
conspiracy theory about on that the eclipse?
The eclipse?
Wasn't there some like devil meteor that was?
No.
Oh yeah,
Well, the
devil,
meteor-
the
I don't
devil
know.
meteor, and
Well, the devil
and they
meteor hit
X
Gordon Moore.
across the
Bro.
blah blah blah.
Bro,
blah,
the
blah,
devil-
I
blah,
figured Chuck
blah,
would know.
blah,
That's why. I
Devil,
blah,
the
blah,
devil
blah.
meteor fucking hit Alton, bro. You didn't see?
No, I don't. Anytime they bring satanic panic into it, I turn it off. I just turn it off
Okay.
because it's such ridiculous nonsense.
Can I talk about some satanic panic?
Sure,
I thought we were going to talk about the fucking
Sure.
space shuttle.
We will.
Okay.
But
space shuttle. That's
so
that's
excited.
bullshit.
Bullshit.
That's
Did you watch my video?
It's nonsense.
Did you watch it?
I watched them board the damn shuttle before it took off. We watched that whole damn thing.
But did you
all
watch
day
my
long.
video?
you believe the government's not lying to you?
Nah, I know, right? Did you watch the video I sent? Did you see?
Yeah.
They literally show all the people going into the water. The
No,
NASA
no,
doctor,
I've
the
watched-
NASA doctor said,
NASA deleted all the fucking moon shit too. So
right?
I watched them get on that. I mean, I'm not saying they didn't pan away and take them right back off the shuttle or whatever, but we watched them get on the.
I know it
fucking
was on
thing.
that big metal cart in the room, and the teacher was crying. And the
Yeah.
fucking nun was crying. She's like, and it was just terrible.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Why did they want to fucking?
I just remember them.
traumatize
I just
all of
remember
us?
them turning off the TV and going, "All right, let's go do some math."
You're like,
Yeah, why do they want to
Or
traumatize?
whatever
us?
we were supposed
Why,
to be doing.
why would
that
the
day.
government want to do that?
If that was kids these days,
gaslighting us?
Yeah, why
you
would
need
the
to go home for a
government?
month for sabbatical.
Satanic panic.
We should have got a sabbatical for that shit, bro.
Sa-
That
sa-
was fucking
right. Instead, we got to do math.
right.
Satanic panic.
Yeah. Okay. So
Yes.
it's not really a panic, but it's interesting to me. So my sister lives in Thailand, like I was talking about earlier.
Right.
Okay. she's there with her husband, who's I guess a preacher.
Okay.
They're like Christian missionaries there. They have a whole thing going on.
Okay, I don't agree with doing that, but okay.
Okay, well, I mean, whatever. I mean, they're living their life, and it's fucking. They're in Thailand. It's awesome.
Whatever.
She has like 7 kids. Okay.
So they're Mormons, not.
No,
I
they're
mean,
Catholics,
No,
bro.
I mean, she's hammering it out. But
Catholic has all the
but-
kids, bro.
7's a biblical number, though.
She's
So
pumping them out.
Yeah.
if you're gonna go all out, man, go to
all of her
7.
kids have
6 is a biblical number too, though. So.
Hey,
That's satanic panic. We are not allowed to listen to
and
that.
3 is magic number.
And
But
isn't 5 too? Because 5's human, right?
I don't know. I have no
Yeah,
idea.
I believe 5 is too. I believe 5 is too.
Nice.
Five is human, and 6 is the devil, and 7 is the Holy Trinity, right?
well, that's not
Yeah.
visible.
So see,
Anyways,
Go on.
Prime numbers.
he's got
I'm interested.
she has all the kids' names are like biblical names, right?
right?
Michael.
So take a guess. I'm asking Chuck.
Hosea.
Because I'm saying this so Chuck picks up what I'm putting down. What is the last name? If all the other children have like nice biblical names,
What is the last name you should name your Christian child?
Lucifer.
Probably Lucifer. Yeah.
No, worse.
Gabriel.
Think about who's the biggest Satanist of all time.
Crowley.
She named this boy Alistair.
I mean, Alistair's not. It's not. I mean, just because you got one guy named Alistair, just because Crowley's not.
He's
I
the
mean,
guy.
it's just
though.
one guy.
He is the guy.
You
It doesn't.
know-
It doesn't fit in the.
You know,
in the
I
thing.
read some of his stuff,
Well, she-
and it's Crowley wasn't satanic though. He was. I mean,
Every podcast.
he was. People give him such a bad rap for doing these things, but he was just doing the same thing you do,
Blood, sugar, and sex magic.
except on the opposite end. That's all there is to it. They do rituals in the church every Sunday. They do rituals in the church, especially Catholics.
We call it traditions.
Especially Catholics, they do their rituals, and the Catholics do blood rituals. And he wasn't doing nothing different, just on the other end of the spectrum.
I never
which,
shed blood at
which
church.
they give. This is my blood. This is my body.
Oh,
That's a blood ritual.
Oh, okay. Fair
It's a
enough.
blood ritual.
You're eating some. You're
Right.
eating Jesus.
But except he
dead.
did it on the other end. He did it on the other end.
Still in a drawing.
He did it on the other side of the spectrum. Which, if you really want to get into it, the other side is still Christianity because it's still the same God. So he comes that theology, that myth, that demon, that whatever comes from that religion. So therefore, if it's satanic, it's still Christianity.
But do you think it's weird that all the other kids are named? Like
I mean,
nice,
that's a little weird.
like nice, like
it's a little weird.
Elijah.
Yeah.
But Alistair's a good.
Josiah.
Alistair's a Alistair's a good sounding name.
Yeah.
Alistair's a good sounding name, though. I mean, it
Strong.
flows.
What was the reason for it?
I
flows.
didn't ask her
Because
because I
fucking
saw.
7 kids, she ran out of names.
What time is it in Thailand?
I'll write it right now.
Text her and ask her.
It's probably night.
See, she had 7.
early
Because they've got
morning.
7 kids, and
I
she
don't know
ran
what
out
time
of names. It's just the baby book was like, I don't know what to
Phone a
tell
friend,
you. You're
bro.
not supposed to have 7.
Phone
Maybe
a friend. Or
Hey,
a sister in this case.
Yeah, maybe the 7th one hurt the most, and
Like that motherfucker.
Maybe he's a little devil. Maybe
Right,
he's
right.
he's a beast.
right came
But
out sideways.
But that I don't. I mean, you're coinciding the name with something that they say he did. And
Is that the system? The
I don't
system
know.
said it.
I don't know. He did it. I mean, he famously resurrected or did the rituals to resurrect a demon in his house in London, or was it in? I don't know. I'd
He had a
have
couple,
to Google, I'd have to Google
places,
it.
like, it wasn't-
No, but this was the main one. This is the one he had the ranch
Why
on
do
the
you
water.
guys think that they should go to Thailand to talk about Jesus?
Because I don't think that you should go someplace and without being offensive. I can't really say it without being offensive, but
Try to
Offensive.
try to force your shit down somebody else's throat.
exactly.
Oh, yeah. Is that called
Exactly.
proselytizing?
Like
fancy word for that?
like the missionaries used to do. Like they would go to the Indians and go.
Well,
and
I think there's
go,
a difference.
You're a
yeah.
savage because, and then beat them with Bibles.
There's probably
and
a
be
difference between, like,
there's a difference because they can't get
colonization.
away with it now. But because they can't get away with smacking people with Bibles no more. But other than that,
Do you remember our homie up there in Rosewood Heights? He was on a mission to convert
Yes.
ISIS to Baptist.
Yes.
So if you were brown, you were going down until you said, "I love
Dang,
Jesus
dude.
Christ." Oh no,
Yeah.
this was a real
Yes,
thing.
This
I
was a
believe
real
it,
thing.
Yeah, yeah. No, he filmed it and put it on Facebook Live.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if so, he just he just would go to a gas station
Yeah.
or a liquor store or anything that he knew a brown person worked and says,
Yeah.
"Do you love Jesus Christ?" If they didn't say yes, the chip rack would fly across the room.
Yeah.
And then something else would break,
Yeah.
and then so on and so
I think it's
forth.
called terrorism.
Well, so him, yes,
Yeah.
but in
I
in
mean-
his head, he's trying to do good.
If it was a couple centuries ago, it would have been perfectly fine.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. That was
mean-
the Crusades.
So
He'd have been doing God's work a couple centuries ago.
So he was fully fucking. He was vested in trying to make everybody believe in Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So what was weird was he thought he was Jesus Christ like a decade before. So that was
yeah.
Yes.
Don't
Yeah.
follow
I
those
knew him at that time.
Yeah.
yeah.
I
no.
knew him at that time.
Yeah, I didn't know him at that
Listen,
time.
this guy, I don't know if we've talked about this with you on here before, but this guy would come up to your. We used
What's
to
this
go.
guy's name?
Jeremy. We'll just
We
leave it
used to
there.
go to Belk Park.
Jeremy?
Right.
Jeremy.
This is
Yeah.
a person you know?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Jeremy and his last name starts with a C. So
So
JC.
JC.
So JC. So we used to go to Belk Park. I don't know if you know where Belk Park is in Wood River.
Hold on, it gets better.
Belk Park is on the back roads in Wood River. Belk Park's on the
I
back
think we
roads.
might
in
have
Wood
talked
River.
about
This
this.
is a true story.
And
Tell
so
me
we
about
used to go. Yes, 100%
And then you
true.
smoked a doobie with him?
We used to go there to smoke pot. Right?
Yeah, okay, we did.
And he would
Forget it,
pop
yeah.
up out of nowhere, like he was hiding behind a tree, waiting for somebody, because he knew everybody went there.
Very, very
And
sneaky.
like, "Yeah, I
and
got
he would
that."
pop up, and he would go, and he would come over and he'd start preaching to you.
Yeah.
And he was convincing. Like, he read the book. He was very, very, very convincing, especially when you're stoned out of your mind. Very convincing. And then he'd get to the end of it and he'd go, "Let me get one of them pinch hits." And then, so now picture this. Picture being high as
Before
fuck.
it was legal, huh?
Picture being
Oh, yeah.
high. Yeah, picture being high as fuck. This guy just told you he was Jesus Christ.
Dude.
And he was convincing about it, right? And now he's asking you for a pinch hit. And now you're like,
They know high like the most high.
do I
go.
do I give you one?
Yeah, is this a test?
All right, is this a sin? Do I go to hell because
Yeah.
do,
Your good trip just became
do I go to
paranoid,
hell
huh?
for not giving him one? Do I? No, you just give him one.
Yeah, you just
See, he's trying to walk on water,
Just give him
dog.
one.
Dude,
Well,
that's
he
crazy.
So he
You
ate.
did tell me a little bit about that.
So
last
yeah, so he ate a whole bunch of acid.
That's the story. I was
Yeah.
at that party, and I don't know that that's what happened.
Yeah,
but
suppo-
that's the story.
Supposedly got wet. He drinks the whole thing. Next thing you know, he thinks he's Jesus Christ, and he's walking around in robes and sandals.
So see, the story's changed. I can
Long
tell you
time.
the story. I remember the story from when it went around the high school to
Right.
begin with. We were all at his house for a party. His parents come home. Boom! Everybody splits. He's stuck there with a fucking sheet of acid
Yeah.
because that's the kind of party it was, and his parents were super religious. Instead of getting caught down the hatchet, it all goes. He was gone for 2 weeks, like from school and everything for like 2 weeks, and then he come back.
Well, he went to talk to his father,
Yeah.
and then
and
he came back.
right, for a really really long time, and then he comes back to school, and when he comes back to school, he was Jesus Christ.
Dang. From
Yeah.
that point forward.
No, he got out of it eventually.
Well, yeah, I mean he.
Yeah, he
I
came
don't know
around.
that he's all the way out of it.
No,
but,
but no.
I used to sell him my prescription antidepressants because he liked the way they tasted. He'd buy them every time I had them. He'd buy
Statute of
'em.
limitations.
He'd buy them every
Yeah,
time I had
no,
'em.
they're all gone up here.
I don't really give a
Yeah,
shit.
yeah.
So
Yeah, they're all
I don't
gone
care.
up here,
Doesn't
bro.
apply.
I don't
Yeah.
care.
This arena.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Allegedly.
we got a lot of snitches and bitches that watch, but I mean, all that shit's so long ago.
Yeah. Dang, that's crazy.
Yeah, he was a fun guy. He ran into
Really, he's actually a really, really good dude.
Heart of
He's
Gold.
got a
I
really
hired
good
him.
heart.
Dude,
He's
I hired him one time.
he's
Yeah?
just fucked up.
Yeah, I paid him that day for his day work, and
He's
then
the kind of guy that'll rob you at knife point, then come back and apologize.
yeah, he would. Yeah, he punched. One day he was like, you know what, we
He
got.
would. He did.
Yeah,
That's how he got caught.
right. One day he.
Sorry, man. I'm really sorry.
Yeah, no, he was funny, man. He would do stuff. He'd go turn himself in. He'd feel bad, and police were
Right.
like, "Please leave." Like, he's like, no, I committed this crime, and you're like, you get a pass. No, I need to pay my dues. He was like that. But he was funny, and he had a heart of gold, and I kind of miss seeing him all the time because, like, one day they were working on the poles in Rosewood Heights, the power poles, putting the big metal ones. We always had power outages up there and shit. Yeah. And he comes in and he goes, what if the wire hits the window and you can see into the future? And at this time, I have this really nice old lady. She's looking at jewelry, and now she's scared because he's got tattoos on his face. He can't breathe real well.
Is he like a fucking pug or something?
Kind of his. I think he said his face smashed so many fucking times. Like he breathes like this. He just, So he was like,
probably effects of eating anything he will get his hands on.
So he comes in. And he goes, if the power wire hits the window, if you could see into the future right there. And I go,
only if you're going 80 miles an hour, man.
I go, well, would you
21 gigawatts?
I go, would you only see the future outside of that window or all the futures?
Oh, dang.
And he goes, and I just come off like that, right? And he goes, I'll let you know. And he leaves. And the lady sitting there is like, what the fuck just happened? Like, she's just probably like 70-year-old lady just trying to find a cheap gold ring, right? She's like, what just happened? And I was like, and he goes, I'll let you know. And he fucking bails out, bro. Dude. And it was fucking hilarious.
Did he start the multiverse?
No, he probably, dude. He gets, when he dives in, man. He comes in and he's just fucking hilarious.
I heard stories of him ripping like a guy. He's passed away now, R.I.P. Brad. But he roomed with him, and he locked him in his room because he was, for like 3 days, because he was just on this crazy and then when finally he calmed down and they were able to open the door and let him back out, there was no more floorboards in the room, and he did not have power tools.
Oh shit!
There were no more floorboards.
Yeah, he was a big, stocky fucking dude, man. Like,
but he couldn't fight for shit. I watched him get his ass beat by a girl.
Well, I watched him.
She a big girl though. But
I watched him hit that heroin dealer. Watch that dude's head bounce around. I mean, it did knock him out. He called up his heroin dealer just to punch him in the face so he'd stop selling heroin, which is admirable. But then the heroin dealer threw bricks through his windows at his house. And
he bought a bag of weed one time from Alton. He had this badass. It was a really nice blazer. His dad bought him.
Right.
I can't remember if it was the white one or the blue one.
Probably in house arrest.
I can't remember if it was the white one or the blue one.
I don't know. He had so many.
But he had a really, really nice blazer. 2-door.
Extreme.
Yep. Nice blazer.
That's what he liked.
Full stereo. Everything. He goes up to Alton. Buys a dime bag. Gets shorted instead of going home like most people would because they got shorted in Alton for a dime bag. He goes back.
People still buy dime bags?
He goes back.
Back when dime bags were a thing.
Yeah.
Dime bags were a dime?
Yeah. Right.
He goes back.
Willie Nelson, real quick, anybody? You know what I'm thinking?
And he says,
all right.
And he says, you shorted me. I want my money back. So instead of getting his money back, he got all his wallet and his dad's credit cards took. He got all the windows knocked out of his blazer, and his stereo system took, which he had a nice stereo. He got beat up. He got all over $10.
Right. And he spent more than that. He probably spent more than that in gas. Well, not back then, but
right.
Yeah.
Whereas most of us would have just smoked our joint and been mad.
Right.
Dang.
No, he was. I hired him one day, man, to be security, right? And he was probably 6 foot, maybe a little bit taller. So he was. So I was like, just stand there on busy days. You don't have to do anything. Just stand there. And he's like, my feet hurt, so I get him a stool. I'm like, all right, sit here. So he's sitting there, and then people come in the door, and he's like, hey, how you doing? Like, cause he was so excited to have a job, right? His mom called, and she goes, whatever you pay him, I'll pay you back. Like, like they were so, I was just trying to give him a purpose, right? Yeah. Give the guy a purpose, maybe, spark a little hope, give him something to do. And I said, okay, buddy, the next customer, let's not bark, at them, hey, how you doing? Or welcome to Airline Pond, or whatever he was yelling at people. He goes, okay. I go, if they're behind these aisles, just go over there and just kind of keep an eye on them, right? No big deal, right? Just, And I go, but don't be, spying on them. Just, make sure they don't put nothing in their pocket. And he goes, okay. I didn't need security, bro. It was a fucking 200 square foot pawn shop. It was the fucking one thing I didn't need.
Nobody ever took anything.
So I go, just tell, say we got a sale on DVDs, right? So there's an old couple in, they're looking at the DVDs. I don't, a whole wall of DVDs. This is how dated this is, right? And so he's like, we got a sale on DVDs. And they're like, fuck. And then so they leave, and I'm like, all right, bro, like, we'll find something else for you to do tomorrow. So I pay him for the day. He comes back tomorrow. It's winter, right? It's snowing out. He's sweating, wearing shorts and a fucking tank top. And he's like, I don't feel so good. You mind if I call off today? I'm like, that's fine, buddy. Go ahead. Because he didn't have a car. He was walking around. So he walked up there from his house, in the snow. Fucking. I was like, yeah.
But he asked permission.
He did.
That's more than a lot of people do.
No, yeah. No, he's seriously a stand-up dude. He just sometimes is under some substances, and he, decides that
Fanatic, man.
he's going to deport every Mexican in town and tries to bash out the windows of Mexican restaurants.
Sometimes his brain takes a sabbatical.
Yeah, his brain definitely does take a lot of
And
sabbaticals.
he does no preparation for it.
No
preparation.
Not prepared for it at all.
no food in the house, no nothing, just whatever.
That's good.
So one more story about him, my favorite story. He calls.
I love this guy.
Yeah, no, he was literally my I loved when he
You
came
need to
in.
have him on here.
I would love to. He'd be fucking great. Chuck, you're closer. You can go check on him.
I have no idea where he's at. I don't think he's in that house no more.
Oh, really?
I don't think so.
His parents bought him a house just to get him out of theirs.
That was like at the end of the pawn shop that he wasn't in that house no more.
No, he was still in there. He was just like going to the mental ward and shit like that.
Oh,
But
I don't even know how to find him.
So he discovered Facebook Live, which was fantastic for the rest of us, and he decided he was going to clean the streets again. And this time he called a drug dealer. Drug dealer comes over, and as soon as I had him on notifications. If he went live, I was tuning in, man, because it was better than anything. So basically, I didn't want to make sure my fucking windows didn't get smashed out, and I could record it, right?
Yeah.
So he fucking calls the drug dealer. You see him, you see his body, right? You don't see his face. You know his voice. I'm not going to say his name. But he goes, "You're under citizen's arrest for selling narcotics." And then you hear, "Shut up, Jeremy." And so the guy just leaves, right? And I see him the next day. I go, "Jeremy, what happened to that arrest with this guy?" And he goes, "I forgot to detain him." He was so fucking great, man. I do miss seeing him for sure. So
That's crazy.
yeah.
There's a lot of I'm not around people like that as much as I used to be, but that was basically who I was raised around all the time. Just funny, ridiculous stories of like, are we on the same planet right now?
No, yeah, that guy
No.
wasn't.
A whole
Yeah.
different dimension, man.
No.
That
Yeah.
guy was great.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
So do we know why she named him Alistair yet?
Yeah, I filled enough time, bro.
Nope.
What the hell?
It's probably 7:30 in the morning. And I should probably feeding their asses right now.
It's a lot of them to feed too.
Hey, how many
Right.
pancakes you gotta make, bro?
Right.
No, wait. It's 24 hours. It's 7:30 at night there.
Bedtime.
Is it really?
Yeah.
It's the same time there as here?
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of
But a
weird.
day in the future.
Oh, it's the next day.
Yeah.
So they'll know the lottery numbers before we do?
Yes.
Fuck, that's fucking pimp. Can we get on that?
Can I text them?
Yeah. Can she send the numbers over?
Maybe I'll ask her.
Okay. Is that like
Alright,
Back to the
what's up?
Future, the fucking sports almanac?
It's 7:38 a.m.
Oh, it's 12 hours.
12
12 hours ahead, or
on the next day, though.
The next day, though.
yeah,
Yeah.
I would assume.
Yeah, it's Tuesday at 7.
I would assume.
No.
That makes
Yeah, it's Tuesday, July 9th,
that makes sense.
Okay.
7:30 a.m.
Okay.
GMT plus 7.
All right, what are we gonna ask? DOC.
What are the chances that you think we are living in a base reality?
Ooh, what does that mean exactly?
Assimilation,
No, base reality is the original reality.
as opposed to
Altered reality?
A simulation, which is not the base reality. So there's a base reality could create millions of simulations. We're the original reality.
Man, that is super selfish to even say.
Why? I'm asking the question.
Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough.
The first answer would be I don't think I've ever thought about it until this moment right now. So,
That means it's alternate.
but I don't think that there are alternate realities. I don't think
Yeah,
I
I
believe
mean,
in like an actual
you-
multiverse.
No,
I
so
mean,
it's not a multiverse. It's
you're asking that question to a Christian, like
That's the
not
point,
only
right?
a Christian, but a
The Christian.
like a
Not the.
devout, a pastor Christian.
Was he pasteurized?
So his
He
so
was.
his
He's way past
his
my eyes.
opinion's going to come from the Bible and only.
It doesn't change that opinion though, because
It does, because like he just said, he doesn't believe in alternate reality.
It's a unique
but-
perspective, at least.
but it's not an alternate reality. It's our reality. We're living in it, so it has consequences. No matter
But you
what.
would still have to believe in an alternate reality to believe that we're in the base reality.
right, but there's a
There'd have to be more than one to be
there's
this
a
one.
greater chance that we're not in the base reality than we are in the base reality.
But there'd
Which
have
would
to
be the
there-
original based off your
Yeah,
definition.
yeah.
Yeah.
There would have to be more than one in order for there to be this one. There would have that means in order for your question to work, that means there has to be more than one.
Like
Yeah,
Inception.
And he doesn't believe that there's
I never
any
saw it.
more than one.
Okay, so you have your computer, and you have the Sims running,
Yeah.
and you're running these people around.
Yeah.
I just built walls around mine and watched them starve to
Yeah.
death.
So it's crude. It's crude, right? But at the same time, it's a reality for them. So, do you know, in all reality, like, do those people in there, even though that's a computer program, are, if you go down the base of it, everything is a computer program in the universe. Do those people know that they're stuck in a room starving to death?
Well, I think they'll figure it
Well,
out.
they definitely
Almost
go
like
through the emotions in their head.
Yeah,
so that's
right,
for
right.
What's
sure.
funny is I've spent 7 weeks with my kids, so it makes me think about like Horton Hears a Who, the show, the movie. You know the movie? You guys remember this movie?
Yeah, right.
Right? And like turns out like Whoville's just on a snowflake, but there's billions of snowflakes, and all of them are unique.
Right.
And
all
so is that
of
what
them
you're
have a
saying,
hookah.
right?
Yes.
Right.
Like
all
is
of them
that
have a
the
hookah.
is that the original snowflake?
No.
Or is it the place where Horton comes from?
So there's a
original.
a civilization that's technologically advanced enough to create a simulation that can do all of this.
Oh, okay.
So we're in Grand Theft Auto.
Be like the Matrix.
No, no.
more
There were
Grand Theft
multiple
Auto.
Matrix. What
No.
if there was more than one Matrix though?
No, that's exactly what I told you. Somebody has
Maybe I'm not smart enough.
a base reality has computing power large enough to create a simulation where
How's that not the Matrix?
It's The Sims.
If you've never,
It's The Sims.
well,
We're The
the
Sims.
problem,
Just The
the,
Sims.
the problem with
All
the
right, we'll go
question
with
being
Sims.
posed to you, no offense, is you've never, ever thought about it because you don't believe it. So therefore, you have no real basis of what to answer the question.
Which one? You want the?
but it's not a
Right?
bad, it's
You
not
want
a bad,
that?
It's
I want
not,
our sponsor's choice.
it's not a bad question to ask
get it.
because
Okay.
it doesn't change your religious.
Let's keep talking about it. It's fun because I don't ever get challenged to think about things like
But
this.
it is
It's helpful. for
But
me.
it, I mean, I'm not saying that it isn't, but it is a bad question to ask because he's never, ever thought about it. So there's no.
So we're making them think
there's
about
no
it now.
basis. So he's got
Yeah.
no. But you're like putting him on a spot.
But I do
with
believe
no
in
warning.
I do believe in a creator
Right.
that is sovereign, that has created something,
Right.
and that knows how this thing ends. Like you know how they're
Right.
running around in circles, starving to death.
Right. Right.
It's very twisted.
So in
Just
the
eat his
Sims,
popcorn, like just waiting
The
on
Sims,
Chloe to die. On
it gets worse. It gets worse.
Do
In
they
The
eat?
Sims, you can order pizza. You can order. So these people will show up. You can call the cops. They'll show up.
This
They'll-
is satanic panic right now.
and they'll come in your house. And they'll
This is
come into your
satanic panic
house.
right now.
And you can pause the game and you can build walls around them. And then your person can go over and like watch. And I would build glass walls, of course, because what fun would it be if my person can't go over there and watch them starve to death while they eat a plate of food?
So,
He's the god of that universe, right?
Right.
So
Right.
Yeah.
now,
Right.
you got turtles all
Not
over.
much different from your
but you
god
mean
in this
spec-
universe.
You mean specifically more of like there's a
Well, you have turtles all the way down, right?
civilization.
Because if we got
that
to the
use
level,
technology.
if our civilization doesn't end, and we got technologically advanced, which we have to build Dyson spheres, which is a whole different conversation, to power this situation,
Yeah.
then we create the simulation. So now we're a
fucking
simulation
system.
within a simulation.
The system is what it is.
I feel like that's what the government does to us. They try to create a
The
simulation
system,
with
right.
the media
Right, the
to
system.
build
Well,
walls
that-
around us so that we run around and panic.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
There's a lot of metaphors
do.
here, but you're right. I've never
They
really
do.
thought about it. So I can see how it could be
at
difficult.
the end of the day, it doesn't matter. But like at the same time, because people will say, well, if we're in a simulation, it doesn't matter, because that's actually a big thing. So, but it does, because our actions do have consequences. But
Yeah.
But do they?
It's interesting to think about the fact. Well, in this simulation, it has consequences. Do you want to spend the rest of your life in jail?
What are they doing? Are they
Right,
watching
right.
us?
You don't-
like a rat in a maze?
Yeah,
Kinda.
Yeah, it'd be like The Sims,
Okay.
right?
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
So
It's a TV show. Like on South Park.
Now they
Truman
Or
Show.
the-
No,
Truman
Truman
Show.
Show. Thank you.
they could run a simulation and walk away, and they're trying to figure out the best outcome of us as a species running to what end, right? And there could be a million of them running at a time with different things the Nazis won, or this bomb was dropped here, or this.
Well, but that
happened.
could be happening anyway, because if you believe in like the multiverse,
Yeah.
the multiverse means that there's infinite amount of.
Would they have created a historical context, like when it comes to like macro and micro evolution? Would that be something that would have actually happened in the simulation, or is that something that they would have placed into you to believe has happened?
Well, they
so
would have
maybe
placed-
not as old
so-
as you actually
Well, I'm
believe
su-
you are.
and I'm sure
Right.
that.
So what you're saying,
pretty
what
stark.
you're saying is, would they have placed the biblical theory of creation into the simulation to kind of see where this one goes?
Yeah.
If we put this in, where's it going to go?
Interesting.
That's.
I've never thought about it, but it is fun to think about.
That's.
Yeah,
I
because
feel like we should have started with this
Your
conversation.
your idea of fun's a lot different than mine.
because the probability, if you're
I
a
know.
statistic,
Back to being flat, remember?
yeah, if you're
This is, I'm exhilarated right now. This is exhilarating right now.
statistically, it's a greater chance that we're in a simulation than not.
Statistically?
Yes.
But at
Based
the
off
same,
what
but at the
statistics?
same time,
And
but at
who
the
gave you
same
those statistics?
time, if you're going to believe in the multiverse thing, then there's a statistically high
Well, there's
chance.
an infinite
There's
number
a statistically high chance that we're not in a simulation because
And-
there's an infinite amount of multiverses in which every
decision
everything
creates a
is
new-
possible.
But this
where- in
wouldn't
which
be a
everything
multiverse.
is
This
possible.
wouldn't be a multiverse because they don't believe.
We would
based on
be
what you're
in-
saying,
we
there's
would
not
be
a
in one
Dr.
of them.
Carr in the next maze running.
No, no,
around.
no. There's a
whole-
Dr. Carr in all multiverses.
Yes,
but,
but-
some
I
of
thought
them
it
are
was similar
geniuses.
to-
Some of them are scientists.
Oh,
Some
that's
of
no
them
different.
Sometimes
are
I'm the guy outside sitting on the chair.
right. Some of them are. I mean, there's
Backup guest.
infinite. There's
A-town.
infinite numbers of you
And then
doing
and-
infinite
So
with
no,
infinite
to answer your question,
possibilities.
I've
Every
never
possibility is a
considered
reality.
So in the multiverse, if you taking that cigar there
Yeah.
is a choice. So now it created another branch reality based off of taking it there. If you would have ashed it right there, it would have created another reality.
Like another line.
Is that the butterfly effect?
Every decision that everybody
Yeah.
makes creates a new branch.
So it's like whenever the Hulk is having the conversation
Right.
with the,
But-
forget her name, but
If you believe in the
Natasha.
multiverse thing, then all possibilities are still—they're all happening. All possibilities are currently happening as they happen.
It's
They're
just too
all
much to
currently
think
answer your
about.
playing
question
out.
is this. I've never thought about this.
Well,
I'll tell you something I do struggle with, though, in light of Christianity.
Go.
go.
And that is, like, God being sovereign. And so God being completely in control and yet us still having some sense of free will. I don't fully understand all that and grasp all that. That's not
There's a lot of things I have a problem with God, and that's like the root cause of it all.
His name's
Like
Yahweh.
like
You're
like
right.
in charge. No, it's not. Because if you knew His name, we wouldn't be here, according to the book.
Yeah, they do say Yahweh. I am who I am in the Hebrew is Yahweh.
Yeah.
So it's referred
But if
to
we
as
knew His,
Yahweh.
but it also says if we knew His name, we would no longer be here. We are not allowed to know His name or speak the name of the Creator.
It's Yahweh.
Right, prior to Christ.
I mean, that's not verbatim, but that is the gist of it.
yeah, well, they would be put to death for saying Yahweh specifically.
Yeah. So,
So
it's
they would say, like,
Yahweh.
Jehovah.
Well,
Jehovah
now,
Jireh.
we'll get canceled if we go into that topic. But yeah,
You know, you get canceled for freaking
You
like
know,
rolling through a stop
those
sign.
those
So-
specific people have put lots of people to death,
Yeah.
Just sawing off
It's,
heads.
and then we're supposed to be mad that somebody come along to put lots of them to death, and I just don't know how angry we should be about that.
No, I've never thought about it, but I do struggle with that sovereignty. I believe that God is sovereign, but also I have a. If there's
So-
everything I like wrestle with, it's that thing. And so it's like, how do you exist in a universe that already has an indetermined and not become like someone
So-
that's like, well, what does it matter?
So have you ever
know.
considered?
It's not whatever. I don't think it should be. What does it matter? I think it's let's see where this goes.
Have you ever
You know,
considered
I want to see.
reading,
I want to see the full plan.
Yeah. let's see
or
the
have
outcome.
you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever considered reading, or have you read other philosophical theories on creation and what we are and what
Not,
we do?
not in a long time.
Like the
You mentioned
most
some
the
stuff last time we were here, and I was
the
like, I
most
need to get that. And then I
current
forgot.
thing that I have read.
Yeah.
That Mike has the book now, and he probably hasn't read it. It's about that thick. It'd take him all of 2 days to read it. But
Are you still talking about that book?
yes,
The Hermetic Principle.
the Hermetic Principles, which is basically Egyptology. It's basically what it
Okay.
is. And so in that it is the all, and we are part of the all, and the all cannot create, the all cannot subtract, the all cannot, and therefore we cannot create, we cannot subtract. The all is just existence, and we are part of the all, so therefore we are all, and the all is the all, and this table is the all, and so forth.
What is the all?
The
all is the all.
everything. The all is the all. It's everything.
Yeah.
So it's like
The
it's
all.
like
It's both creator and existence.
okay. So it's like oneism. It's like everything. Everything is everything, and it's
Yeah.
all connected, and it's
Yeah.
all.
So I can see that like joining in with energy is everything is energy, right? So
yeah, and that's interesting too. You know, because you do think about like there are very real aspects of energy that matter. Like
Yeah.
I was thinking about just I've driven a lot in the last 7 weeks,
Right.
and I was thinking about how like and I might get this wrong. You don't fact check me, but from my understanding, elephants can have a funeral and they can summon other elephants from hundreds of miles away.
Yes.
That's some pretty deep connectivity.
I
right
don't
there.
know about hundreds of miles away, but yeah, they
I was thinking about, like,
miles longer
Check
than
it,
you would
fact
think
check
they
it.
could. Yeah, longer than you would
Yeah.
a greater
But they
distance
do
than you
full
would
funerals.
think is possible.
For their, you
Yes.
have whales that speak in their own language.
Sure,
Yes.
sure.
That's definitely proven.
Yeah.
Those
Those
are
are-
dolphins who do like
plants.
dope freaking.
Plants have their
snipe
own
sharks
language.
out, and they have a whole strategy.
Orcas have decided, as a giant group all across the globe, that they don't like boats.
Okay.
It's not just one
'cause-
specific group of orcas. Like, they've discovered that these orcas way over here that don't know anything
Yeah, I
about
wouldn't
these
be
other
surprised.
orcas are like mad at boats too for some
So all that to
reason.
say, though, in light of like energy, I think there is a lot to that our modern world has dismissed, and it's so stupid because you look at like grounding is huge right now, and it's like,
Right.
well, yeah, that kind of makes sense. You know, it's
Do you
like,
know- do you know
just
what-
run around with your shoes off and have fun? That sounds like a
No,
freaking
do you know
day,
what? Do you know what's
So-
it's dumb is
It actually works too. though. I mean,
Yeah.
even if you don't believe in it,
No,
you
yeah.
actually will feel better.
Yeah.
Just reaching out. You don't even have to take your shoes off. Just reach out and grab onto a limb, and you'll feel
Yeah, man.
some
Well, it
kind of way.
reshifts your neurons, right? And kind of brings
It
you back to
grounds you.
zero.
It
Okay.
grounds you.
well, yeah. I got that blanket I plug into the fucking ground plug of my outlet.
Yeah, dude.
and then
You sleep on it?
Yeah, and no,
Or
no,
get over you,
no.
or-
I'm not buying them.
About 31 miles for a funeral.
Like 31, yeah.
Still,
So-
super
so
That's
impressive,
still
right?
longer than they should, right?
Yeah, I can't call you without a cell phone from 31 miles away.
And they'll
Right.
return to visit them and grieve.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
How is so? What's a funeral? What's an elephant funeral look like?
Here's
Have you
the
seen Lion King?
here's the thing though.
Flowers?
Have you not seen the Elephant Graveyard, man?
I have not.
Here's the thing though.
Do they bury them?
It's
I don't know,
scientific
we're not allowed to
fact.
go there.
It's scientific fact
It
that
sounds like all this is made up.
Whoopi Goldberg.
it's
is the
scientific
laughing man.
fact that if you teach like monkeys, I think it's a monkey thing where they discovered it. But
Canceled.
this monkey in no, not basketball people, monkeys.
Now
Now
canceled.
canceled.
Jesus.
we're an
Just
hour in.
turned it to 11. Fuck.
We're an hour in.
Go on.
Proceed.
But this
Sorry,
this
Mom.
monkey has learned how to use this tool or something, and they discovered that like all of them know how to use like this rock or whatever to do this thing now.
Right.
Like all of them. That there's no connection.
Can
with
any of them clean
and they know
windows?
how to do
Because
this
that
now.
sounds way cheaper labor than fucking.
And they know how to do this.
So
Now.
speaking of physics,
What's that got to do with physics?
I don't know.
no, because that's physics. Like it's interconnectivity of those molecules.
That's I don't believe that's
So-
physics.
It'd be,
But-
where
but maybe.
psychology and
But
physics
maybe.
meet.
So maybe
So
quantum physics.
Yeah,
maybe, I don't know.
quantum.
Would it be
Okay.
quantum physics?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I think it'd be psychophysics.
No, it's quantum.
Quantum leap. Scott
Quantum
Baio.
leap.
Shut up,
Scott
nerds.
Bakula.
Nerds. Shut up,
It's
nerds.
Quantum Leap with Scott Bakula.
Oh, I love that
so-
show. That was a good
It
show.
only took
show.
us an hour for the show to get good. This
Right.
is great.
So
Is this normal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
So back to the simulation.
That's why we lose
Yeah, yeah,
everybody
yeah.
in
This is
15
great.
minutes.
Yeah, they're like, this show sucks. They just tell them, usually start with a like an announcement. It's like, just go to 65 minutes.
Right.
Right.
This is awesome.
Fast
I have
forward.
no idea what we're talking about anymore. I'm having a blast right now.
Are you being facetious?
No, because
Facetious?
the Celestials did not program me
I
that
believe
way.
you're being
Yeah.
obtuse.
Not this
I think
world.
you're being very obtuse.
You are being obtuse.
Very obtuse.
So there's
This is awesome.
quantum physics.
Let's go.
He doesn't even know. He doesn't know where he is no more.
Come on,
He's lost
Sheldon.
it.
Let's go.
It's an observable principle that
Quantum physics.
that when you observe something, it changes its form. So between a wave and like an electron. Okay, so
Okay.
a particle and a wave.
Got it?
Your act of observing it changes it. Its
Right.
form from a wave to a particle.
Okay.
Okay. So that, like behind me right now, you're looking at it.
Yeah.
It's rendering for you,
Mm-hmm.
but for me, it doesn't exist right now until I observe it. Then
Okay.
it renders in reality.
Yeah.
That's part of the simulation.
So how does that work? Where light travels so fast, I'm actually seeing into the past while looking past you.
So it does because you can. There's an experiment. It's called the slit experiment, and they can take, say, light from a star 100 million miles away.
Right. Which might not exist, right? If we're
right,
looking at
right.
it. Okay.
So it goes to these slits,
Mhm.
and it's called a delayed response experiment. And it goes to these slits, and they choose to not observe that light till it passes through the slits.
I know what you're talking about.
And when it does, it changes the waveform. So you're traveling back in time to change the form of that particle from when it started. So you're traveling back 100 million years or whatever it is
Yeah.
to get here. So you can time travel through that. It's a legitimate physics experiment that was done.
Yeah.
So behind me right now, this doesn't exist until I turn around and
I
observe
don't.
it.
To you?
To you, you're looking at it.
I don't.
It exists. To
I
me,
don't.
it doesn't exist right now.
What
Based
about?
off quantum physics?
I do not concur with that, sir. I do not concur with that.
I want to be on Chuck's side there.
I
You
do
know
not
it's there because you saw it once before.
Doesn't
Right.
matter, but it
Right.
does. It doesn't render until I look at it.
Yeah.
It's my simulation.
You're
You
just
know-
talking about in this theory, it doesn't exist until you
So
you
fix
observe
your
it.
eyes
So,
upon it.
so if you close your eyes
It's
and
just
turn,
like Schrodinger's cat.
if you turn your eyes and close around that, if you close your eyes and turn around, that wall's not there.
No, until I open my eyes. Is it?
Well,
If you close your eyes and turn around, that wall's not there.
No, until you open your eyes, it's not there, is it?
Okay, so close your eyes, turn around, and I'm gonna see you walk through that wall.
That's kind of where I was going.
All right then.
You're going to run into that wall.
All right then.
It's going to stop.
If it wouldn't cause such noise, I would take this microphone off and drop it. Done. That's
true.
done. It's done.
Theory
right
is shot.
It's done. It's
So,
there.
so
It's there. It's a physical man.
Hold on,
It's a
wait for this.
physical. It's an
Hey,
actual,
wait
real
for this.
physical
This is gonna be great.
manifestation. It's an actual, real physical manifestation of molecules and fucking electrons and shit. And it's there.
So
It's
you're,
real.
So you're a quantum physicist.
It's real. It's
Hey,
there.
I want to say something.
It's
Go.
there.
I don't want anyone to miss it.
Go.
I agree with Chuck.
No. Oh.
Because if you shut your eyes and walk through the wall, you're not going to walk through the wall.
Right. You're gonna walk into the wall, which is gonna be hilarious.
We'll turn the,
Not that it won't be hilarious if you walk through the wall.
If you walk through
But
the wall,
then if you keep your eyes closed, do you hit the sidewalk?
A-Town's a different place.
If you
walk
hit
through the wall.
if you walk through the wall and your eyes are still closed, do you hit the sidewalk?
So-
or are you like Wile E. Coyote and you just
Well,
you
no,
just- you
because-
don't even hold your little sign up or nothing.
But he doesn't see anything else, so he doesn't know that he's
According to
there's
It's
no
just in
ground.
the
It
ether.
could
It's
not
just
be
in
a
the
wall.
ether.
Yeah, he's just walking in a
according
blank
to his theory,
void,
it
Just
could be
in
a
the ether.
coincidence.
Right,
He's in a blank void.
Right.
right?
Ah, so
He's
Je-
typing now.
No, I'm
so
cur-
Jesus didn't see the water.
He closed his eyes. He closed his
He
eyes.
closed his
Quantum
eyes.
physics.
It's not
Quantum
it's
physics.
not necessarily visual observation.
Well, we've had this discussion before, though.
You're wrong. It's not necessarily visual observation.
But we've had this discussion before, though, where I've along these lines, where I've said there's a huge equation missing from everything we know, a very, very huge equation missing, and they know that they don't know jack shit. So
But you're wrong. It's not a
Like-
visual observation.
Like, do
Okay.
we really only use
So elaborate, Drew.
7% of our brain?
well, if I'm wrong, it's because you explained it wrong, sir.
I'm saying, like, right now, that does not exist until it's rendered when I'm observing it.
Okay.
You
So
can
you can-
observe
wait,
it
wait,
through
wait.
mentally, visually, whatever you want to
All right,
do.
So
All right,
all your
all right.
senses.
Yes.
Okay, so fine. Mentally, you know that wall's there then,
Right, but I'm saying it's
because
not,
you've seen that wall before,
but you're in a game. You're in a game.
right?
Right. You're
Right.
you're a third person game, whatever it is. And you're
Right.
looking this way.
Right.
There's nothing fucking behind you until you turn around and look at it.
There's a guy
Okay,
shooting me.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
But he's on the other side of you.
Fair
But
enough.
you're observing it through physical.
But that's not exactly
Touch.
accurate either, because I play a lot of Grand Theft Auto, and I know where my little nightclub thingy is. I know where it's
It
at.
doesn't
and it's-
change that
and
it's
there.
programmed
Of
that
course,
way.
it's the
It's
nightclub.
there.
But it's
It's there.
it's programmed to be there. Yeah, you know it's there. But it's not there until you visually observe it.
So if I go,
Until I get to the part of the
To
game
the
where
part of
it's
the
there.
game where it's at. Right. So it's not rendered till then. So that's what I'm saying. Like, all those.
so in Indiana Jones,
You have already rendered the wall.
So-
because you have seen it before, so the wall is
It's in-
already rendered.
It's in my brain, but I'm saying
Correct.
like.
It's already rendered.
But right now, looking at it, if I'm looking this way or I'm visualizing this way, if we're in a
So-
simulation,
Okay,
it's
hold on,
not
Chuck.
being formulated.
hold
behind
on.
Me.
Let me side with Drew for a second. You woke up in a different state.
Yeah, you didn't even know you were there.
You didn't know you were there. You
Oh,
missed.
well,
you
that
missed.
was-
You
that
missed.
was-
You missed the whole trip there,
was-
and don't know what happened for a week.
But that was the result of heavy hallucinations.
I'm going to be honest. I don't know what's behind me right now, and I cannot visualize it.
Right.
Yeah.
So close your eyes and start walking.
Right. That was the result.
See what happens.
That was the result of heavy hallucinogenics,
Right.
and that all was still there. I just do not remember experiencing it.
All right.
So did you?
But he didn't because he didn't
I mean,
experience
I
it.
had to because I got there.
But he didn't experience
Well,
it.
Maybe.
So Drew's kind of
I mean,
right,
I do kind of pick and choose what I believe I experienced during that time period.
and we pick and choose what we
So-
think happened to you.
Right. So we'll just leave that there because
You wish you had poppers.
things were very, very. things, it was a very, very weird situation when I finally came to. So, and I choose to believe one part of it and not the rest of it.
Yeah, we choose to go with our side of the
I
story.
mean, it's just omitting the truth.
But I have physical evidence that my side is probably the most accurate side because my butt did not hurt
That doesn't matter.
So-
It could have hurt 3
And my-
days before you came
and
to.
my jaw was not sore.
That could have came 3 days.
Nobody lasts that long. for
Maybe it just happens to you all the time. Body's used to it.
He had them poppers in there, loosened it all up.
Right.
Fucking poppers.
Man, so I.
So no simulation then for Pastor Corey.
I don't believe so. No, I
you
think
can't based on the Bible alone.
Nah, based off the word, that's what I submit to, and so no, I think God created this under the assumption that we would.
What if your God is Chuck?
Based off the word. But if you're basing everything off the word,
hold on, Pastor Corey's like,
but if you're basing everything off the word, then there's a lot of things in there that kind of don't fit your belief anyway. If you read the book,
go on.
If you read,
go on.
They kind of don't
go
fit
on. Take an example.
They kind of don't fit the monotheism theory.
Take an example.
If you actually read the book,
man, we've been waiting for Pastor Corey to come on.
Bring
an example.
They don't fit the monotheism.
Bring it on.
So, well, first of all, it's not a monotheistic religion anyway.
Right.
Because you have good and an evil, which you have to have in order to persuade people to.
But Lucifer's not a deity.
Do your bit. Yes, he is.
He's an angel. He's not a deity.
He is an angel.
100% he's deity.
He's an angel.
He's 100% a deity in that religion.
An angel.
He's 100% a deity in that religion.
He's not a deity.
Let me tell you. Okay. Let me ask you a question.
You could call him a little G, like a little G god, if you want to explain.
Wait. He's a Zeus.
Assume.
So if you watch Rick and Morty, he's a Zeus.
He's not a Zeus though.
Well, wait. I will prove to you that he is a deity in that religion.
Okay.
All right. So you are him. You're Lucifer. You're Beelzebub, right?
I'm the
You're him.
I'm the light bringer.
You're him, right? Right. Which is another conversation entirely. You're him, right? So what would your adoration be? What would you prefer
I'm
that the
pissing
people?
my dad.
What would you prefer? Nope, that's not what I'm talking about. What would you prefer the people who believe in you? What would you consider worship? You're him. You're him, and everything the Bible says about you is true, and you're him. What would you feel is worship? You wouldn't feel like love is worship. You would feel that people fearing you is worship, because that's kind of your whole thing, right? So people fearing you is worship. So if they are fearful,
they were told to fear him because he's this evil person.
But that's not. We're not saying how he come about. We're not saying but we're not.
Let him finish.
No, we're not saying that's. I know, but we're not saying it. He's real. Everything's written about him is true. Okay. He's real, 100%. Everything in the Bible that they say about him is true. People fear him. If you are him, that is worship. That fear is worship. 100%. That fear is worship.
If you want to call him like a god because there are people that submit to him because he does have a greater power than them.
You're worshiping him.
There's we joke about, not joke about, but we call it satanic.
Panic.
He's even done certain things in the same way that God has done certain things. He's even done certain things to influence our position.
It depends on how you use the word.
So he has influence. He has worshipers. So he's no less of a god than
God.
Than
he's a demigod because he's
no less of a god. He's no less of a god than Buddha. He's no less of a god than Buddha.
Well, I would say Buddha doesn't.
He's no less of a god.
Buddha's a man.
He's no less of a god than
he entangled lightning.
What's the six-armed goddess?
Well, I would say he's more powerful
Shiva.
than any.
He's no less of a god than Shiva. He's no less of a god than Shiva. He's no less of a god than Zeus.
We're talking about the Bible.
Or Poseidon. Or
there's some, but not those.
But he's not. But he does not have. So if you even if you go back to the Bible, Michael and Gabriel, who are both angels, they do not have the same influence and power that he has.
They're all archangels. They have the same ability.
I would argue that they do have the same.
They have the same power.
Power and influence, just not in the same direction.
Yeah, because they're all archangels. They're all archangels.
Yeah, the scriptures talk pretty regularly about like my angels will defend you. There's stories all written about that.
But they don't. But do you worship them? Does anybody worship or fear them?
I think some people
do. They pay anything that could resemble admiration to them at all?
They wear
Catholicism. Catholicism does, not Christianity.
Well, I think I would still agree with you though. I'm not disagreeing.
Christianity.
I'm agreeing in the sense that I think I would disagree that people don't view them as gods because I think people will worship anything that's greater than them.
All right, so
they don't even have to be angels. They can just be people.
Well, We'll run with
people-
that.
Put on
We'll run with
paper.
that.
Yeah, the cutouts of Corey.
Dude,
and
Michael
for the
Jackson
sake-
would go through a
for the sake of
he
argument-
would pass out because they were so blown away by Michael Jackson.
So for the sake of argument,
in essence, he's a
so
god.
for the sake
he's
of the
still
argument,
alive.
I'll agree with you on that.
Definitely
I'll
Thank you.
okay, fine. We'll agree with that. But
Michael
it's
Jackson's
still,
alive.
but that still makes it a monotheistic religion because there's still
Well-
there's still adoration for him.
Yeah, I'll take your side and argue that I would argue though better that I'm gonna take your side and I'm gonna give a better argument if I can do that.
Yeah.
That it's not monotheistic because they're in the beginning in the book of Genesis you have God and you have the Spirit hovering over the waters, creating like the very power of God manifesting Himself in a form of a spirit. And then not only that, but then in the beginning, whenever it talks about in Genesis the creation of humanity, He says, "Let us make them in our image," which is a plurality. Us
Right.
make them in our.
Right. Well, I can tell you where that
image.
comes from, but you wouldn't agree with it. So
Perhaps.
They-
I just agreed with you though.
They-
for
right,
the
right,
second
right.
time.
Right. But that comes from that.
Where's
comes
our dry
from-
erase board?
Yeah, who's keeping score?
Right.
They
Yeah.
never bring
uh,
this guy back again. We thought they were going to argue, and I'm like, I agree. I concur.
Us and
that-
them. Come on.
That comes from Sumerian Assyrian theology. Let us create man in our image.
Yeah, perhaps.
It comes from the I mean the
or
whole
is it a
the whole
foreshadowing?
well
Could be a
so
foreshadowing.
so this is why I won't argue that, because I've read Sumerian Assyrian, I've read a lot of it, and so I still won't argue that God doesn't exist. What I'll argue is what I will say is that I don't think any one religion has it correct, because everything has come from something before it and something before it, all the way back to oral traditions that have long been forgotten. So it doesn't disprove.
Well,
So
the
just
point there is
because,
they've
so
been
just
forgotten.
because, right. So just because, well, they turned into this, and then they turned into this, and then they turned into this. So they really haven't been forgotten. The lessons have been just changed and moved as they go along.
Okay.
And even the Bible has been. But so I wouldn't argue that it doesn't exist because of that, like other people would, because all that proves is that it's just taken from this, and it's taken from so like I will use the word plagiarize sometimes, but only when someone's being an asshole about it. But it's not really plagiarized. It's just, if anything, that could all be true. And so that makes this true. If that's all true, and that's where this came from, then this is true as well.
Okay, can I have 1 minute?
It's just
on the
been
clock?
altered.
1 minute on the clock.
Go.
You can time it. 1
You're
minute.
on.
60 seconds.
You're on.
So Lucifer was a created being.
Was a creator being.
He
No.
was a created
He didn't
being.
manifest himself.
He didn't manifest himself. He was
I
made.
mean-
But he was made by God. If you were going by this, he
We're
was
going
made.
by the book.
I mean,
He's-
well,
which
right,
is the
right,
premise of
because
the
God
concept.
created the angels.
So he's not a deity.
Did you have to look this up?
No, I'm telling you, he's
Is he reading this off the screen?
No.
no, he's not a deity. He's a fallen angel.
He's looking for poppers.
Okay. So
He's looking for poppers. And what was the other one?
They said he's looking at Converse. So
No,
that
no.
checks out.
Yeah. Converse, yes. Poppers, no.
So typically, to be a god or to be a,
Yeah.
Well, but I've already agreed with that part.
I know, but you have to have omnipotence, omnipresence.
Okay.
Okay.
How does he not have omnipresence?
He's not everywhere at one
He's
time.
not every one time.
Can he not be?
Have you not seen the show Lucifer? He's in Los Angeles.
Shit.
Good show.
It is a good show.
I like that show.
Duh.
I like the
that
version.
makes California make sense.
I like their version of hell on that show too. I love their version of hell on that show.
What is their version of hell? Is it
Your time's
nightclub?
up, sir.
Oh, wait, we didn't let him talk.
Your
Come on,
time's up,
come
sir.
on.
Yeah.
Omniscient, omnipresent.
Omnipotence. Regardless, he was a created being, so he can't be superior and a god. If anything, he would be a demigod.
Well,
And here's the thing: in Christianity, to be a polytheistic religion, he would have to be worshipped by Christians, and he's not. He's worshipped by
nope, wrong.
no,
Wrong.
no,
Wrong.
no.
Wrong.
He's not worshipped by Christians.
Wrong.
You cannot be a Christian and worship
Wrong.
the devil.
Yeah, no, you
I
cannot.
think
Wrong.
that
No,
I
no.
think,
Wrong.
Well, hold on. To
He may have his own religion.
To
Nope,
Chuck's
nope,
point,
wrong.
in fear, they could be.
Wrong.
I don't know if-
ascribing him more influence than he deserves, and I think that a lot of Christians are because of their fear of what they believe Satan or
Right.
sin or
God-
something will do, will
God-
actually lead them to make terrible.
The
choices.
God has
And that's
authority over
adoration.
all.
Okay.
which could
And
be
that's-
worship,
and that's
Could be
adoration.
worship.
Okay.
So
All
I'll
right.
side.
Yep. No,
That's
it's
adoration.
that's
That's
the
number three.
same. That's like point.
number 3.
That's like 0.5.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
One-
it's
It's
like
adoration.
2.5.
Version
So
1.2.1.
yeah, 2.1.
So
Anyway,
and he does not exist in that form outside of that book. So everywhere else you find Lucifer or the opposition to a god directly, like Zeus and Hades. He's not. Hades isn't evil. Or is Hades the place, or is it?
There always has to be a diametric opposition.
Well, of
to
course
the-
there has to be, because you have to get people to follow it.
Yeah.
Right.
So there has
Right.
to be
Yeah.
there
That's
has
why
to
we
be
hate
a
China.
good and a bad.
Yeah, that's why
There
we
has
hate
to be.
China.
There's a. Well,
But,
So-
but the
so-
brilliant thing that
but-
the Christians did was make him be not just there. He was created by, which gives
So, but in
a
some
+1 to Yahweh.
in other books though, in other forms of, he was the light bringer. He was. So let's just take a movie quote, because I can't say it any better than Al Pacino did. He's a fan of man.
Yeah, that's a good movie.
I nurtured him. I saw his needs. I gave him his needs.
Yeah, but he's still not
But
the guy.
he was the light bringer. He taught us. He brought us knowledge. He brought us. So even in the book,
It's a fucking
Even
it's
in
a-
the book.
It's a hack. It's a shortcut.
no, even in the book,
Well, he brings it through deception.
Yeah,
even
it's
in the
a
book,
shortcut.
Adam. But does he? But does he?
Yeah.
In the book, in Adam and
Based
Eve,
off the book,
in
yeah.
Adam and Eve,
Through deception.
in Adam and Eve, he did not deceive Eve. He just told her to eat of the apple.
That's not true. That's not true.
He
'Cause
deceived her.
Yeah, he immediately twists the words of God, and he says, "You cannot eat of any of the fruit in the garden."
Okay.
But that's not what God said. He said you can't eat the fruit of that tree. And so the first encounter he has with Eve is deception.
Is
Did
deception.
God really say you can't have any of the fruit? And she goes, maybe. And so
Okay,
that is
so-
a deceptive thought.
I don't. So I don't remember it correctly.
So
That's
it's-
and that's
or
fine.
you could
It's
say
been a long
Adam
time.
was a poor leader.
It's been a long time since I read
bitches
it,
be
so
tripping.
I don't remember
all
it
the
correctly.
time.
All the time.
But nonetheless, even in the book, he gave us
Sorry,
knowledge.
Mom.
He gave us knowledge, and he
Of
gave us free will.
Of
Even in the book,
deceit.
he gave us knowledge, and he gave us free will.
I wouldn't think
Well,
I wouldn't say he gave.
But he gave
it.
us. But
Would we have the knowledge, and would we have free will, or would we still
Well,
be in the garden in
difference
perfect
is,
paradise?
I don't think that he gave it. I think God took it away. I think we had free will in the beginning, and then he comes in and deceives the great deceiver, the father of lies, Beelzebul, right?
According
he
to your
comes
book.
in and yeah, but that's the premise
Right,
of the combo is the book.
right.
So
Fair enough, fair enough.
The book. If it was, I'd argue something else. If it was not about the book, I don't think he gave anything. I think God retracted and took away the free will that we were once given.
We didn't have free will in the garden.
Why didn't we?
they could
Why?
bone and do whatever
There's
they
no mention of free will
They-
in the garden.
Hey, titties were flying.
All-
Bushes were
No
flying.
mention of free will
no.
in the garden in paradise.
When I
There's
went
no
to
mention of
Catholic
free
school,
will.
they had leaves.
Yeah,
No
there
mention.
was
There's no.
titties. They
There's
were
no
fucking
mention of
flying.
free will
Hey.
in the garden or in paradise.
Pastoral
There's
joke.
no
I can't
mention
say
of
from
free
the
will.
stage. You guys want to hear it?
Free will.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a safe space, right?
Right.
What's the first thing Adam said to Eve?
What?
Stand back. I don't know how big this thing gets.
Fucking bad score.
But there's no mention of free will in the garden.
There's not a mention of free will anywhere in the scriptures. Nowhere. There's not a mention of it. There's also not a mention of the Trinity. I'll side with you on that too.
Yeah, the Father, Son,
But-
and the Holy Spirit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, we-
the Holy Ghost.
I
But
think
I
you'd have to
feel
make
like
it up, but-
just because they're not using the term free will, I still feel like they mention it, because then where do you get? Then where do you get?
I don't even think.
Then where do you get the ideology that we have free will?
Well,
Where
you're
does it
talking
come
about
from? Then
implicitly. Is it implicitly in the script? I don't know that we do.
they're implying it, right?
I think that there's a level of free will. Like I can pick this up and I can set this down. That would be free will. But I think
Okay.
also, as we talked about before we got to the Celestials and living in the Sims and you walling people in and not giving them pizza and just eating popcorn and
Not
chuckling.
giving them pizza. Just watching motherfuckers die.
So I think there's a
Give this
limited
guy
free
crack
will.
crack.
It's cool because then they haunt you too. It's
I think
awesome.
there's a limited free will of I can like this lighter, I can do these things and wear this
Well-
shirt. And at the same time, God knows exactly how this thing turns out.
That
Back
would
to what
bring
we
a-
talked
I agree.
about earlier of like,
Yeah.
why do you not just give up? And you're like,
Entire-
well, let's ride the lightning. Let's
Right.
see what happens.
That would bring an entire extra level of disgust for
Do you-
me for your God. Then
Do you think that like the more that you believe, the more success, and your version of success, not any one definition of success, right? Not a blanket success, but success is in like your happiness and your soul and your fucking heart. Do you think that when you believe and you have more faith, that for lack of better words, you were just straight happier because you're believing in the fucking plan that's laid out for you.
I do think so, yes.
Me too.
It's a dual nature, though, because also, like, the more I learn, the more questions I have.
So
Sure,
But yeah.
but so I grew up Catholic, so we just looked the other way and just pray hard and fucking
yeah,
you know.
we have a lot of what we call recovering.
Yeah, me. That's me right there, right?
So here's my question.
I'd like to come back to that disgust comment you made, Chuck, just a second ago. I'd
Disgust.
like to know why that's disgusting. But I want to hear
what's
what the doctor
disgusting?
has to say.
So,
Hold on,
well,
I wanna hear the
well,
doctor.
No, let him go, and I'll.
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
We'll just touch on it because you don't.
I would
want-
like to know, because I
So
might not even have a
so
framework for that.
I will not. So I do not bash religion unless someone's being a complete and total asshole. Like, oh, I'll pray for you, you sinner. You're going to hell. Blah 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 blah.
You thought I was going to be that our first time.
I'll
he said that
pray
the
for
first
you.
He
time.
came in like guns up,
Yep.
and he was like, I don't know what to do with this.
I'll
freaking
pray
guy.
for you is one of the worst things that you could ever
I haven't
say to
prayed
me.
for you
because-
once last year.
because it's just so it's insulting. It's insulting.
I understand, yeah, because they don't do
It's
anything
insulting.
about it. Yeah, they don't do
Right.
anything about it. Yeah,
It's insulting.
That's true.
So
I also agree with you on
I will not place this argument. I would not normally place this argument towards you. I would normally not place this question towards you.
good. I'm
just
really
so you
curious.
know that,
I wanna
because
hear.
it's a very, very offensive question. Very,
Wait, my
very.
question?
No, mine.
No,
It's
wait,
a very,
what's
very
coming?
offensive question that I would pose
7-hour build
to
up.
you
Fuck.
about the free will.
All right.
If God is omnipresent, He can see everything. He has the power to change everything. He has the ability to everything, right? He's omnipresent. He's
Got it,
everywhere.
yeah.
He's everywhere. He's all powerful and omnipresent.
Yeah.
Does he enjoy watching children get raped and beaten by people they should trust, or can he just not do anything about it? Because you can't have both.
Yeah, well, I think that to your point on the disgust is, my first response would be, why doesn't the church do more? Like, why not
Because
raping and pillaging,
because you can't see into that. You don't see into that.
but there's just a lot of, I'm going to be honest, there's a lot of churches that know about things that are happening and don't do anything about it.
But God
Jehovah's
can't.
Witnesses.
But God can see that. So if we do not have that free will, like you were saying,
Yeah.
to do those evil
Well, I think we do have
things,
some free will, just to be clear.
right,
Yeah, okay.
to do those evil things that He is not only watching but not preventing,
Yeah.
then why in the would I worship that? Why?
Well, because you're saying why worship a God that'll
Why
let
do you- but why
something.
do
That
you-
allows children to get raped and beaten by people they should innocent.
Yeah.
Children to get
Yeah.
raped
Yeah,
and
sure,
beaten because they're innocent until what, 13 or some shit like that, right?
Well, they're
Thirteen.
should
innocent
always
until they're innocent.
There should always be innocent,
So-
bro.
until-
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I mean, I would say that on
there's
one
an
hand-
age of innocence. but
So how do you worship a God
Yeah.
that could
that allows it. If
that would allow,
if-
especially if there's no free, if there is no free will.
if there's a finite amount of free will. In other words, He knows that's His plan for that child to get raped and beaten, which is what you proposed by saying that
Casually
we only
aborted.
have
Well, I
we
wouldn't
have a
say-
finite amount of free will.
That's back. So that's it. So I said I have a limited free will here,
Right,
but God knows how this thing turns out.
right.
So I'm not saying that He's orchestrating the rape and polygamy, or not
He's just
polygamy,
not
the
doing
pedophilia.
anything.
that's
He's not
happening.
doing nothing.
Well, no, I don't know that that's true. I feel like that statement there is short-sighted. Because there's a punishment that God can place upon people that you can never fathom.
Now,
That
now.
I'll never be able to fathom.
Now, along those
I think
lines,
that's true.
Hell.
along
Eternity.
Well,
those
true
lines,
justice.
though, how many people along that path for that child for that to happen to that child had to turn the other cheek?
I mean, not necessarily a lot, dude. There's a story. There's a story,
that shoots you in your chest,
and
you
the
know?
story that brings me, the story that brought that question to me, to use against assholes. Again, I would never use that against somebody I respected.
It's okay. I appreciate that.
The
I'd also
story
like to
that
know
brought
Chuck
that to
said
me
he respects
is
me.
of an 8-year-old who nobody knew that the uncle came to the house. I think it was the uncle. The uncle came to the house.
Yeah.
He was completely trusted. Nobody ever thought he would do something like this. He raped this little 8-year-old girl and then got scared she was going to tell on him, and he beat her to death with a brick out on the front porch.
Right.
So my question is, why is that
There was
God's
no
fault?
pre because you just said we have a finite amount of
So-
free will, which means that was not free. So
on, I wanna
so
come
was
back-
that part of that free will,
I want to
or
come back to the book because
And
why
again-
is that God's fault?
and again because he's omnipresent and all powerful, he could have seen it and stopped it at any time he wanted. He
because
chose not to.
Here, this is to me, like,
And free will is always the get out for him on that. It's always the escape.
Well,
it's
the
always
problem
the
is we're
excuse.
blaming God for something that it's humanity's fault.
Right.
Because the initial onset of the
I mean, he
conversation
did create
was
us.
we had like complete and total like free will, basking in the presence of God. He said, well, usually there's, I don't remember how you word it.
no
Something
mention
about
of free
boobs
will
and
in
something,
paradise.
everything's flying around is what you said.
bushes and boobs.
Yeah, bushes and boobs. But then there is a very real, to the onset of the conversation, this demigod, to use Dr. Carr's words.
His influence.
Yeah, so if he's influencing said disgusting uncle, why does God get in trouble for this other? Like, why don't we? Like, when I
Because-
hear that, I look at Satan and I go, I want to punch that mother
Well,
in the freaking
and
mouth.
and,
I
and
don't
when
go,
I
Jesus, what is wrong with you?
and when I hear that part of that side of the story, I say, why is he always the scapegoat? If it's humanity, then why does he have to why does he take the blame for humanity?
Well,
If he has to take the blame for humanity, then our Creator has to take the blame for humanity as well. So now they're both pieces of shit.
Because he did
So
create.
here's
Right.
here's
So
the-
now they're both pieces of shit.
But you're still missing the point of the cross, which is Jesus, like he who knew no sin becomes that sin. So he becomes not just like sin, like I lied to my mom, but he becomes like.
But
sin,
Jesus knew
becomes
sin.
the effects of sin, becomes all the results of sin, all the ripple effects of sin. He literally becomes everything that poor family would have experienced, and he dies so that he can exact justice that we cannot ever
That-
fathom on someone. So justice is coming.
That does not.
So I think for me, it's like to think about right now. Like yes, and I have an 11-year-old daughter. You know,
do
and
not-
if I knew that an uncle did that, I would
do-
shoot that uncle.
I do not.
Let
right.
the record show.
Right. I do not
At the
agree.
same time,
I do not agree with that at all.
There's a just God
There's
that's gonna-
justice coming. I don't. It should have
So-
never happened.
So can I speak for?
But
a second?
even if God's not there, that
free
still
will.
happens.
But free will is the excuse for why it happened.
you're using
That's why. That's why I posed. Otherwise, I would have never brought the argument up because I would never
It's a
pose
good
it to you.
question.
But
Yeah.
but
Well,
you
get it
Go
out,
for
bro.
Just
You
say
posed it.
Talk
Get it
over
out.
us.
I won't let him.
Go.
Just talk over us like no.
nobody gives a fucking
No, I
shit.
do.
I want to know. Come on.
Go.
So you like all this comes down to that. Sorry, Corey.
It's okay.
Christianity and all these other religions are all based in some far distant past off the same stories.
Right.
They've all come together and convalesced into one story.
Right.
Doesn't matter who God is. It doesn't matter who the deities are.
Right.
What matters is that there was a plan given us to be a good fucking person. Okay? There's a plan to be a good person. People can choose not to be a good person. You don't have to. You shouldn't
Humanity.
have. You shouldn't have to fear a burning hell to be a good person.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
There's rules. Hey, here's 10 rules, whatever the fuck they are. Right? That you can be a good person.
Yeah.
You don't choose to follow those.
Don't kill. Don't
Yeah.
commit adultery. Don't.
Yeah.
So let me. Sorry. Go ahead.
So, at some point, the universe, whatever you want to call it, the fucking God, Yahweh, fucking whoever, there is a retribution for your actions, right?
Okay.
So, so that
in the Bible,
Yeah.
yes.
No,
yes.
I mean, no, I'm
If
saying-
you,
I'm
if you
saying-
believe in the Bible.
Based
no, I'm saying
I don't believe in that.
We're saying based off the book.
If we're basing it off the book, yes, you're correct.
no, not even off the book, off all the other religions. If you're acting like a shithead, you're going to be fucking reincarnated as a fucking dung beetle.
I mean,
right?
in some religions, yeah.
Right, yeah.
In some
okay.
religions, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So,
But if you go to Greek
Well,
mythology,
there's karma.
we all went to Hades. We all went there.
yeah, that's fine.
We all crossed the river of Styx. We all paid the
Yeah.
boatman. We all
yeah,
went to the same place.
But you're judged at some point, right?
There's
no,
still a
I don't believe so.
judgment of some sort.
I don't
There's some
believe
sort
so.
of judgment.
You're-
Karma, judgment, whatever you want to call it. Like, if you want to be a shithead all your life,
No,
you can
well,
be a shithead all your life.
and-
If you want to be a good person, you can be a good person. But the thing is, like, with the rape thing and the abusing children, there is a long line of people, whether it's your parents or your grandparents or your friends, that allow that to happen. And
That particular story, there's no idea that was coming. They had no idea that was coming at all.
Right.
This was,
That's
was like
also- I mean,
this
that's a
was
real
just
thing.
like some intrusive thought he had that day
Well,
that
but-
he let
but-
win that it happened.
yeah, but the thing
and
is,
that happens more often than you would think.
That's
but
premeditated.
but somewhere along the line, something happened to that person that happened, right? So like somebody allowed, like you had a thought because you saw somebody do this, or you saw this. It's all about community.
He could have just been fucked up in the head.
I know.
Too, though.
Yeah,
Something called generational.
I mean, there might not have been anything.
There's
Sin
generational
begets
trauma,
sin, yeah.
but humanity in itself is a community, and we refuse to accept that, right? And it sucks that nobody.
Society, society's fucking terrible.
Yeah, and so
It creates these monsters.
yeah, it does because there's people who have whatever you want to call it, evil or this in their
Right.
brain or defects or whatever you want to call it,
Right.
and so this happens,
Ghosts.
and
Ghost dad.
people allow that to happen. No, me, you, Corey, nobody we know would allow a sex trafficking ring to happen around us because we'd be like,
No, we'd be in prison.
We're gonna shoot you in the fucking head right
in
now.
prison.
Or be
Right.
applauded.
Yeah, right,
Done.
right. So, because we know that that's wrong.
Right.
But some people may have not been taught that that's not okay, or they were fucked up and raped, and they thought it was okay. So, it's a generational thing.
Society creates the monsters.
Yes,
Is the point you're getting?
It does,
at. Right.
And so whatever religion is, whatever, it's all from a distant past, and we've been shown the way to be good humans, but people refuse to accept it.
But
That's
it's a
all I'm saying.
society of free
word.
will. So the reason why the question was posed is because it's a society of free will, which means that we have full free reign, free will. The reason why I asked the question is because he posed that we don't have full free reign, free will.
Well, it's interesting because it's like, I do always come back to like, why do we blame the creator? Like, if I were,
I really like that too.
if I were to chug this,
And I don't disagree with
No,
that.
no, I like
I don't
that.
here's a
disagree
quick,
with
like
that.
examples, right? In my mind is,
But
and this
he
might suck, so I
did
apologize.
create us.
He did, but the other
Chuck created
deity
us.
there you're
Yes,
talking
yeah.
about is the one that has led us astray.
Sure.
So there's a war. But here's the deal. So I chugged this hard truth, right?
Thank
And
you, Hard
then-
Truth, for sponsoring episode 134.
And then I drive home hammered, and
Right.
I
Kill
hit
somebody.
a family, and I
Right.
kill them. No one calls Toyota and says, "Why did you create a 4Runner?" People, maybe some crazy does.
Sure,
There's
sure,
always-
sure.
everybody does
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
No one. most
Someone-
people-
somebody
someone
might.
somewhere will.
might,
Right,
yeah,
right.
but you get the point.
Right,
Why
yeah.
did that Forerunner operate when fucking Pastor Corey was smashed?
Most people aren't calling Hard Truth and saying, "Why did you create a sweet mash bourbon?"
Right.
Everyone is going,
God damn, Hard Truth. We need
local
more bottles,
pastor
please.
kills family, murderer,
Right.
DUI.
Right.
I get held accountable for that.
Right.
No one calls it
Right,
Toyota.
the humanity
Maybe some
gets
crazy
held
calls
accountable
Toyota
for
and said, I was wondering, why did you create
But your point is,
Forerunner.
you were
No one blames
humanity
the
Right.
gets
unless it comes down to religion.
But
then,
then-
everybody blames the creator.
But then-
and you're like, well, but you're the one at fault. Like, you're the one that freaking chose to go, well, hell, I don't remember what he said.
But then
Well,
why?
he did say that.
But then why do you blame the other guy?
Because he's the one that literally was like, hey. 'Cause
Take another drink,
'cause
take
what
another
the
drink.
people who know
Okay,
him might
so-
go, hey,
so-
Chuck was like,
so
hey,
if-
feeding him shots.
If
So
Drew
both get in trouble.
if Drew says take another drink, and I know you're getting smashed, and I do nothing to stop you, and I'm the other guy, and I do nothing to stop you from getting in the
That's
car.
humanity.
I'm
still
just,
humanity.
but I'm just as responsible
Yes.
as
Right.
Drew is.
Well, you're proving my point because you don't call
I'm
Hard
not,
Truth
though.
and go, hey, my buddy
I'm not
just coaxed
though.
this guy into
I'm
drinking
not
more.
though because as someone who's seen it, was able to stop it, I did
Whoa.
nothing. Again, the creator sees it. He's able to stop it. He does nothing.
Right, but
So
you're not
you-
the
So
creator of these
so even
substances.
though Drew influenced you to do
Why
this,
did I do it?
Well,
even though Drew influenced you to do this, I did. I was a silent observer of the whole thing and did absolutely
Right.
nothing.
Now-
So why didn't you?
Which,
But why didn't you?
which makes me just as
But
responsible
what
as he
if
does.
you do
Listen,
some
you-
crazy outlandish act to show like grace and kindness and mercy? Like, I don't know, killing your son so that there can be like a great deal of hope of all those that were hurt.
Now what
That changes the scenario.
in your head?
It changes the narrative.
In your head when this. So I'm fucking feeding Corey shots. I know he has to go out where I live, and I'm like, "Fuck you, bitch! You're drinking," and he's drinking.
Right, it sounds just like Drew too.
Yeah,
Right.
Right.
I'm like,
Drink it, hammer.
and
Hammer.
And so you see it, and you're
Body
like,
shots.
Yeah.
are you gonna give
Take
Corey
those.
a fucking ride home? And I'm like, fuck that bitch. He's not fucking that.
But if I do
no.
absolutely, but if I don't give Corey a ride home at that point, being sober, then I'm just as responsible as you
No,
are.
but in your head,
I still
in your
hold the
head,
same
when
responsibility.
in your head, when it happens, is there a moment when you're like, I should say something or should I not say something? Because that's your choice, right? That's your free will. So you have that choice, right? Where you're like, man, he's getting shit faced. He shouldn't drink anymore.
Yeah,
But
You
I
shouldn't
still
drive.
share
Well, could you
that
keep-
responsibility.
I know.
you-
All I'm saying
yeah,
is,
I know, you do.
is they both share the
But you can't say
responsibility
God
at
didn't
that point.
share any of the responsibility because he looks at Adam and Eve and then he pursues them based off the book and he moves towards them and he clothes them and they're naked and they're ashamed and he like
That's a-
pursues and he
that-
kills an
And
animal.
that's, but
I
that's
prefer
all of that is a
without the leaves.
foreshadowing of a greater sacrifice and a greater killing and a
That
greater
makes-
covering.
that's
and a
why-
greater, so you can't say he didn't do anything.
That's why you're Pastor Corey, the Christian pastor,
Yeah.
and I'm Rev Chuck, the agnostic.
That's cool. Yeah.
Because I do not agree with that. I do
But-
not agree with that at all. In fact, if you want my actual opinion of reading the book and several other things
we're getting it
related
anyway.
to,
Go ahead.
related to,
Yeah.
I think you're worshiping the wrong guy. So I think you should be worshiping the other guy in the story
Satan.
because it seems a
Well,
little
so-
more.
The only thing about that is I'd order from
On that one.
I'd argue.
Yeah.
I'm good. I'd argue from.
Take another shot,
Is that
bitch.
the grape one or whatever?
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe we'll try
On that one.
Well, no, it's just not true because if you worship the other, well, there's still a duality that exists here, right? And so if I worship the other guy, what comes? Death. No. What comes through Satan? Submission, but to what? To a power that's
To butt
corrupt.
sex.
Wait,
To death. Hold on.
Wait, tell me more.
Like, there's not like worshiping him would not sustain a society in a healthy way that would thrive.
according
And-
to the book.
Yeah. Well, according to no, just sociology. Just look at sociology is the study of
But everything you're
the effects of
saying,
Satan.
where's everything you're saying come from? About him come from?
This-
Yeah.
the-
So,
uh,
so let's put
the
the
book.
book. So yeah.
Who wrote the book?
I see what you're saying. Based off, you're saying your argument is based off the book and what we know about Satan from the perspective of
He's
the
on
book.
sabbatical.
Of the book.
Things
So
are not-
did someone
he wrote
did
the
the
Bible.
person who
He's
wrote
on
the book?
sabbatical.
Did the person who wrote the book you're following? Did he decide that?
To omit
Was he
some stories.
influenced?
Well, it's
Was
tough
he
because we're-
influenced by?
If you're basing it off the
But
book,
wait, though,
he's
but wait.
perfectly righteous and just, so he wouldn't have gave us
But
false
was he
information.
influenced? But wait, both your deities and what you know about them are coming from this book.
Yeah.
Was the man who wrote the book? Was he persuaded by the father of lies to write this book to fool man into worshiping the wrong God?
Based off the book, no.
Can I ask you a serious question?
But how can you know that? You
Because
can't
the word
know
righteous.
It's
well,
called-
it's based off the book, so the
and-
word in there is like righteous, holy,
and
that.
praise,
But he
just.
wrote. But this man wrote the book,
Hey,
Right.
minus the
being influenced
Well, you're
by
asking me a question based off the book. So
Can I-
based
being
off the book,
influenced by the other
Get
book.
it out, bro.
Go ahead, Drew.
What are you being a bitch about?
Right. You know you gotta fucking talk over people here.
Get it, bro.
minus the vengefulness of the Old Testament.
Oh fuck! The Old Testament's awesome. Dude.
Yeah, it's they
So it's very, very hard to
they
read, but
smite,
it's an
they
awesome
smite
book.
motherfuckers.
Oh yeah,
yeah, they
oh,
fucking yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So Saul,
It's my favorite. My favorite version of God.
Ass
He's a
fucking
dick.
bitches. We're gonna smite you.
He's a dick.
But
I think
so-
that's part of it.
So minus that vengefulness. This is not to make anybody mad or anything. Just seriously,
Get it out.
if what in that book makes, besides some inconsistencies, if you followed it, it would make humanity better. Regardless, it would make humanity better people.
Yeah.
But wait.
Well, I think
So-
every
so the
aspect
question
of
is-
humanity's been positively impacted by the book.
That's what I'm
So,
saying.
so I would disagree with that too. But the question isn't. The question is that at some point in time, when these books were being written,
Yeah.
there's two deities. They both have influence over what's being written in these books. This guy, the father of lies, goes and he says, "You're going to write this book. You're going to write this book."
You're saying
and,
that the-
and you're
Based
going
off-
and
we're
you're
still
going to
basing it
say
off the book though. That doesn't
the
have to be
books
based
haven't
off
been
the book.
created yet. The books haven't. Well, they come
we're
out.
going outside of the
they
premise
come
of
out
our
of the
argument.
book. They
I
come
agree.
out. They come from the
Okay.
book. But so you
You're saying
believe
Lucifer
that they're
told him
real.
to write
Well, we're
that.
saying
You're
based
believing
off
that
the
they're
book
real.
still, yeah.
He's
You're-
just-
We're
he's
trying to
proposing
cling
it.
to the foundation of our argument of
Well,
yeah,
so the
book.
only foundation is that you believe God and Lucifer, Satan exist. You believe they exist.
Oh yeah. Well, everyone
Right.
knows they.
And they've always existed, and they created man, and they've always existed since before man, the tongues were split, blah, 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 right? Okay. So, when the tongues were split, the devil and God already existed. The devil, the father of lies, comes along. He finds King James, because I don't know who wrote the Old Testament. He finds King
Moses
James.
wrote a majority of it. The first 5
Moses?
books of it.
Moses.
And then it's written by different people along the way.
He comes to Moses. Right. He comes to Moses. He says, in the burning bush. Which what do we know about Satan?
Acacia trees.
What do we know about Satan?
Acacia trees. They were hallucinating when they burned them.
But he loves fire. Satan loves fire. He comes to Moses in the bush, and he says, "You're going to write this book, and you're going to say all these things about this book. You're going to say this. 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 You're going to say this."
Based off the book,
Moses wouldn't know. Moses wouldn't know.
Why would Moses? Why
Moses wouldn't know which deity he was dealing with when he started writing the book.
But Lucifer's not a fucking deity.
Well, based off the book, it's not what he said in the bush. He said, "You're going to be my mouthpiece. You're going to perform many miracles, and people are going to know who I am." He said, "Who are you?"
I try to say that on dates all the time.
I wasn't going verbatim. I'm just saying the influence. The influence.
You're going to be my mouthpiece, bitch.
The influence. How does Moses would not know who was influencing him to write this book?
Can I?
So maybe the wrong guy told him to write this book.
Can I supplement
Based
your
off the
argument?
book, though, you can't do that because it's a historical narrative based off the book.
Okay, so the burning
based
bush.
off the book, you have to change the argument. The argument has to be, is this a possibility?
So,
Yeah, but we have a lot of history books in our classrooms that are only written by the victors.
By the victors, and if the victor was this other deity, and not this
So
deity,
I'm just playing devil's advocate.
so the whole thing.
Thank you. I'll see myself out.
If the whole thing is based off lies,
Wouldn't make so much noise, you can drop the mic.
Right.
Which I'm not far from that belief in it. If the whole thing is based off lies.
Yeah.
Because if you go back, and the reason I say that, because if you go back in outside of the religion, outside of the books, but if you go back to Greek mythology, you go back to Assyria, you go back to Shumer, you go back to Shumer, his name was Enlil, I believe it was Enlil and Shumer. All of them have a what did you call him? What did you just call him?
Demigod.
Satan, a demigod. All of them have a demigod or a lower presence, and Enlil brings us fire, gives us knowledge. In Greek mythology,
And he was an
brings us
alien.
fire, right? And he was in Samaria. He was
He's an alien.
an alien. Brings us. They all have this guy that brings us knowledge, brings us fire, helps us, does all these things for us, and then it does all these things for us, and then they all have this guy that was kind of a dick, and didn't want all these things for us, and wanted to keep us slaves, and wanted to keep us this, and wanted to keep us that, and wanted to keep
I have
us.
with that is like, what do you do with like real life experience? Like I've been in places in Kenya that are very, very spiritual. I thought I was a witch doctor because I have a sleeve, I have tattoos, and I've actually seen.
So the witch doctor.
I've actually seen like someone walk by me and their head turn around 180 degrees, staring me down. Like the wall I would know the wall existed because I would be looking 180 degrees.
Right.
And you can feel. That was the first time I ever felt hate. I've seen hate, but I'd never felt it.
Well, that's
And then I've like had someone go to prison in Kenya in the same trip, and this guy was like, our pastor over there was like, we got to pray. And we literally prayed for this dude, and the prison called us and said, quote, "The dread of the Lord fell upon us. Come get this man out of our prison." And those are like real, like in my actual life that happened. So
Right.
it's not in theory. That's like I was like, that dude hates that we're here. And my buddy goes, no, that dude freaking, I have chills right now thinking about it. That dude goes, no, my buddy with me goes, no, he hates you. He hates that you're here. And it was like literally walking by. This is no BS. Walking by, dude's head turns 180 degrees backwards and is staring at us, sitting in a old Nissan Frontier or whatever. Super cool 4-door Nissan diesel. Super cool. But there's things like that that's like, oh, like that's not. Like I can't make that up. You know what I mean? I don't even tell some of those stories from the stage because I don't think people are ready for them.
Right. Well,
You know what I
just
mean?
because there's a presence people have about them,
And so there is a
very,
good
very
and a
powerful
very good-
energy and presence.
I don't think anyone. To your point on being agnostic, I don't think anybody can argue there is something very dark, and there is something very positive that definitely exists in the world.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And so
But
I would call
you have
them
to.
Satan
You
and
have
Jesus,
to have it.
you know?
You have to have that. You have to have
So-
opposition.
And so
we got the next 20 minutes is going to take up too since Drew's gone. So you follow the 10 Commandments?
In a sense, we'll say yeah.
Okay.
For the sake of convo, sure.
Sure. All
Those
right.
are all good to follow.
So if someone were to break 1, 2, 3, 4 of those, are they doomed for hell no matter the rest of their life?
That's the whole point of of Jesus. So we haven't talked about Jesus in this conversation. We're talking a lot about the Old Testament,
right.
Some different theories.
Right.
So the point of Jesus is that Jesus says, "I didn't come to abolish the law," which is what you're talking about. The
Right.
10 Commandments is called the Mosaic Law.
Right.
I didn't come to abolish the
Come
law,
to save
but,
man from man.
but to fulfill it.
Right.
And so Jesus comes as the perfect embodiment of the law.
Right.
It says, like, worship no other God before your God. That's number one. Well, if you don't do that, you probably break all the other ones, right?
Right.
You shall not steal. Why? Because the Father gave His Son to you. So you don't need to steal because He's given you everything you could ever need. Well, you shall not commit adultery. Don't cheat on your wife. Why? Well, because God is faithful. He's faithful in the marriage covenant. That's what it's called when you enter into Christianity. You say you're in a covenant with God. He's at the head of your covenant. So the 10 Commandments represent God's character. And so God doesn't lie. God doesn't commit adultery. God doesn't steal because He's the creator of all things. Does that make sense?
Right.
Say it like
Yeah.
that.
Keep going.
So whenever Jesus comes, He says, I didn't come to abolish that. I come to fulfill it. And what He's saying is, I am literally the 10 before you,
Right.
before your eyes. And then He has some things to say to the Pharisees that come. Their job is to protect the law. And He's like, there's a lot of stories there. And He's like, no, you're viewing that wrong. Don't be so freaking egotistical and prideful and arrogant about the way you keep that thing. So the point of it is this, back to what I said earlier, like he who knew no sin became sin, to answer your question. So He comes as the perfect fulfillment of the top 10, we'll say. And then whenever He goes to the cross, He actually takes all of the effects of sin into Himself. So that He can in turn, here's the answer to your question, all I have to say. He takes all the effects of sin into Himself on the cross, so that He can in turn, and this is going to really make you hate Him more, Chuck, so that He can in turn give you his righteousness.
Right.
So Jesus does what you can't do, what I can't do, what Chuck can't do, and Doc can't do. Jesus perfectly keeps all of God's commands and dies as the perfect sacrifice to give us His righteousness. They call it the great exchange. He takes our sin on Himself because we can't keep that mug.
I'm with you.
And He gives us His perfection. Now, we're not perfect. That's not Christian perfectionism is not a thing. No one's perfect that's a Christian. But He gives us spiritually, He makes us clean. So to say, if someone breaks 2, 3, 4 of those things in a day, are they doomed forever? No. Jesus was doomed in that moment so that we don't have to be. That's the grace of the
So let me ask you, because I went to Catholic school, right? So that was what was embedded. Don't roll your eyes. But
I'm not.
No.
I'm just like,
So
okay.
So
we're told a lot of you need to keep the law.
Well, yeah. So
There was also a lot of priest dick embedded.
there was not, but my hair was not parted in the middle. Nobody liked me.
You weren't a cute enough child.
And on that note, a little bit more bird dog.
Right. Give me that bird dog, bro.
Not a sponsor, but still delicious.
So that was a good voice too. That was nice. So so it's like, there's commandments that I grew up that way, right? So from a learning age until high school, this was it. So when bad shit has happened, and this is these are mortal sins in Catholicism, right?
Right.
So at what point? And so I'm 46 now. I 8th grade was a long time ago, right? There's some things that still weigh on me that make me wonder, do I go to heaven?
Yeah, man.
So it's like, and it's like,
Regardless?
what's that?
Regardless?
Yeah, regardless of what I do now, right? So it's like, am I doing? So I've asked someone before. I said, is it based on faith now, based on actions prior?
Yeah.
I think it's based on the weight of your good deeds versus your bad deeds.
So
What your karma is.
So Corey, go from that right there.
Yeah.
Because
That's Catholicism.
But
That's Catholic. Well, no, it's not though, because some are mortal sins, right?
Well, based on Catholicism.
Right. So based on
That's
Catholicism.
why I said it's Catholicism.
Okay. So it's like, in my, let's say in my head that I still can't get to heaven, and so if that's how I
Yeah.
think and feel, is that You know, even though I'm
Yeah.
not a practicing Catholic.
Sure. Yeah, well, it depends. I mean, if you profess faith in Jesus, so do you believe that Jesus is the perfect Catholic? Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that is, so here's what I mean
Sorry,
by
I
that.
answered too soon. Go ahead.
Okay,
Sorry.
okay, here's what I mean by that. Do you believe Jesus has fulfilled all that Catholicism has taught you to do?
He paid his.
So what I
Yeah.
mean by that is there's 5 major things you got to do in Catholicism, right? If I'm not, you got to go to confession. You got to take communion. You have to.
Well, you got to get baptized
you got to
first.
get baptism.
Yeah, baptized,
do
then first
confession.
communion. Yep.
And so what I mean by that is like
confirmation.
So the reason you struggle is because you've been told your whole life. For example, you've been told not the majority of your life now, but majority of your formative life,
Yeah.
we'll say,
Yeah.
you had to go to confession to confess your sins to a priest.
Right.
Well, the scriptures say that Jesus is our high priest.
Right.
So we don't have to go talk to a guy in a booth.
Right.
Rather, we can go to Jesus, who
'Cause-
became our sin, so
Right.
he could give us righteousness.
Because the guy in the booth owed some money on a football game,
So-
and we had to go collect that. So that
Yeah,
was really
yeah.
fucking weird,
That's
bro.
really weird, dude.
Yeah, yeah.
So-
well, and even hold on one second, and even like baptism,
If-
like, well, you have to be baptized to enter into the gates of heaven.
Right.
Well, my wife is a neonatal nurse practitioner. That's a mouthful, but she deals with patients that fit in your hand that are 26 weeks,
Sure,
just
sure, right,
26
right.
weeks old.
Right.
Better dunk them quick.
Like 26 weeks, and they're supposed to go to 40 and then come out the chute. You know
Right,
what I'm saying?
right, right.
With the baseball mitt down.
Right. Right. I've seen it.
How are they supposed to get baptized? How are they going to get?
You
What
can
kind
just-
of God is that? Now
just
I would
pour-
say, what
pour-
kind of God is that?
Pour it over their head.
Yeah, but Jesus says in the New Testament, hold on, just still trying to prove this point. You know, I come not to baptize with water, but with the Spirit. And so even baptism, the thief on the cross doesn't get baptized when he's forgiven for sins, and Jesus says, "I'll see you today in the kingdom of heaven."
Well,
So how does the Catholic Church justify that?
but this.
Sorry, hold on. Just still speaking to Catholicism.
Sure.
So the question is, for you, this is like a direct question. You know, for
Yeah,
this
right,
man,
right.
do you believe that Jesus has fulfilled everything you were told to do as a Catholic?
No.
Then you need to sit down with someone who can show you all the ways the Scripture says He has.
Right. on.
Now, are you trying to?
Yes.
Are you fighting to try to?
No. Yeah.
That's the second.
Right.
Because that's faith.
But.
right.
You know, no, I don't always believe it, but I'm freaking trying.
Right.
But.
So yeah,
But.
it's a good
That
question.
only works
Good wrestle.
if you have accepted Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior.
Right. So.
So-
Otherwise, none of that works. So
So, like,
if
so
you're
in
not
other
going,
words,
hey,
so-
and if you know you're not going to, then freaking party like a rock star, dude.
so
you know,
yeah.
so
Don't say that.
if
If
you're not going to,
if
go down swinging, dude. Have a blast.
if you commit these sins and
Have
you
a
don't
blast.
accept at the end, because there's no kingdom of heaven for you
Yeah, the
in
only
any religion.
in any religion. You're right.
Well, in any religion
That's
that there's heaven and hell.
The doc's point over here was like, well, there's a consequence in every religion.
Well, right.
Right. So that's
Not-
where. That's
but,
where.
but there kind of isn't.
Where?
There is, but
Where's
there
there-
isn't.
where's
There
there
is,
a
but there
con-
isn't.
Well, it
not a
depends on the
consequence.
religion, but
Greek
there's a
mythology. Everybody goes to Hades. Everybody crosses the river.
so
Styx.
Hades-
So
Hades-
it's still an afterlife,
But
right?
but
Still
Hades,
in afterlife.
but-
Everybody's there.
Yeah.
but Hades
Well,
so
that's-
hot,
so
bro.
that's-
So
depressing, dude.
you're a shithead. You're a shithead here. You're a shithead there. You still go.
You're awesome.
You're
here,
an
also
awesome
still go
dude.
there.
You're an awesome dude here. You're an awesome dude down there.
why follow
You
that?
still go. You
So why
still
follow
go.
that? That sucks.
I don't think they have Wi-Fi in
Might as well be a
Hades.
fatalist.
and-
what were you gonna say?
Well, but yours doesn't work.
No.
Yours doesn't work. How's it a kingdom of heaven if my grandpa was a shithead and he's not there, but I get to go,
Well-
and he's not there, and I want to see my relatives, but he's not there.
Well, that's tough, man.
How's it heaven?
So that comes back to like my brother.
It's not my version of paradise anymore.
My brother will probably never see this. I love my brother. I don't get to spend near as much time with him as I would like. I don't think he would believe me, even if he just caught wind of this episode. My brother's an atheist.
Right.
Super smart.
Sure.
I think he does environmental science. Very gifted and very intellectually. Incredible husband. I'm trying to give all these good caveats.
Right.
Good husband. Has a beautiful wife. Has 2 kids. 14 acres of land out here in the Godfrey type of area. you
Right.
know.
Sure.
Does not believe. You know, the only difference between he and myself is that he has not believed that Jesus has fulfilled all the things I just asked Mike
Right.
about.
Right.
I believe that Jesus has fulfilled those things,
So he doesn't get to go
so he doesn't get to
because
go
he won't accept,
because he has
unless he
It's
accepts
a-
on his death.
because he's looked at the book and said, "I don't believe that."
Unless
So
he
I do
accepts on
I
his
do
deathbed.
believe that though. I believe the book, and I believe, you know, but just growing up Catholic, it was like, so let's say you fuck up and do something terrible.
Yeah,
Then at that point you're like, just like you said, let's go down swinging. whatever. It's
Drive
like,
the freaking light
like if I'm getting a light,
But
like
it's immoral.
if
because it's immoral. As
Where does
Drew said
morality
earlier,
come from?
But where does exactly right. So at some
Inside
point,
you.
no, yeah,
Humanity comes from
no,
Humanity.
So here's
it does not.
Here's
It
the thing.
Absolutely does not.
I'm going to tell you. I went with 28 kids to Catholic school. None of us are in jail. None of us are in jail. I'm probably the worst one at a Catholic school just for my record, and that's not counting what I haven't been caught on. Right, and we're going back a long time ago.
Morality does not come from the book. Absolutely does not.
Absolutely it does.
Absolutely does not. No,
you can have a guide.
Whatsoever.
Doesn't mean you have to follow it.
No,
you can have a guide in front of you.
No, and morality does not come from the book. Absolutely not.
You can have a playlist.
Absolutely,
I think it does, dude. And I think that, and I would even argue,
Absolutely
like
not.
scientifically speaking, it comes from the book because
Absolutely
like
not.
you have places like the Smithsonian Museum.
So you just
that
said
have
that your
deemed it
brother,
the most
your
historically
brother,
accurate book in the history of humanity.
your
most
brother,
sold book, most stolen book.
yeah.
That's out of hotels, though.
0.01%
That's out of hotels.
Your brother.
I was just trying to roll a joint.
You just said your brother was a very good. Your brother's a good
I
man.
forgot what those Bibles are
Your
called.
brother's a good
Yeah.
man. Your brother's a good man.
He's great. Yeah.
He's a good family man. Works. Does everything he's supposed to do. He's a very moral man. Doesn't believe in the book.
Yeah.
So it doesn't come from the book.
Yeah. And at the same time, he doesn't believe in the book, so who cares?
Doesn't
he doesn't
come from
care.
the book.
He's not losing sleep at all because he doesn't.
But
believe
he's
in the
still
book.
a very moral man because it doesn't come from the book. Morality comes from within
Okay,
us.
okay,
Well, I think 'cause it's an
so
intelligent designer.
But there's a design to make you have a morality.
Maybe celestials.
But maybe it's a simulation.
Maybe
But okay,
it's
so like,
simulation.
so okay,
Celestial.
the Catholic Church, right? So
No, I just
Right.
think people want to do good. I just think it's part
So-
of people.
so-
And some people are missing that.
Yeah, they
that
are.
huge piece. Some people are missing that.
Yeah.
which they can't get from the book. Even I don't care how many
think so.
times they read it, they're still going to be missing it.
so
Let's hear the doc.
so the Catholic Church, like, is a piece of shit.
8 minutes.
A piece of fucking shit. No,
In
fuck
a
that.
hurry?
Fuck your 8 minutes. We're going. We're going longer.
I'm not going longer. Come on.
We can go longer, but we can
Hey,
kill the episode, and then they have to do like after.
I control the board.
Yeah,
so
yeah. Okay, so the Catholic Church is a piece of shit.
we
I-
might have to climb out the window. But
Right.
I
I
went-
have a
Ca-
key.
I went to Catholic school.
Me too.
It's a piece of shit.
Yeah, I know a little bit of your story, man.
Okay, so
Also, the Christian church, in a lot of ways, in some factions, can also be a piece of crap.
right, but
So I just wanna
the
be honest.
Catholic Church,
All cards on the table.
all they cared about was power and money, and dominating the world. And it was for the people, the Pope, and whoever was
Are you-
real estate
his
investor
bishops.
Pope.
Right.
Until the Mormons came along.
So they're a piece of shit, right? So they can force whatever they want to on people or try to, but it doesn't make it right. But there's an underlying message, right? And that, and overall Christianity is to make you a better person, to try to make you a better person,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
So it's not like you're.
It does the exact opposite to some people, but okay.
No, I know. Yeah, it
But I don't
does.
think that's Christianity anymore.
But
I think it's the opposite.
But that's
and I don't think
that's your.
Here's the thing. I don't think.
It is my view.
And here's my view.
It's fair.
I'll go to Corey's church because I feel positive when I leave.
I would-
feel
I would go
good.
to- I believe I would feel. I believe
feel-
I'd go to
when
Corey's
I
church.
leave. I feel great. I feel like the energy and everybody else in there is
He
great.
has great energy. Yeah.
I think
A little flat.
that the energy of the universe in general, okay, is to try to make you a better person, right? To make you do the right thing, for better humanity. And people have mental defects or deficits, or they were raised wrong, or they had a person who had mental deficits as their superior, or their mother or father, and they pass that along, and it causes this fucking we would call it evil or hate or just negative flow through everything, right? So the whole point of that, to me, the whole point of Christianity or everything else is not Catholicism, because that is evil to me, because it's a domination thing. It's trying to create this dominating force that rules the world with money and power and influence, right?
Christianity has those caveats too. Depends on who's reading the book to you.
Right, but at its
That's
core,
true of anything.
but at its core, it's to try to show you how to live righteously
Well, there's always
and be
subcultures.
a better person.
Yeah.
But Catholicism, and
did-
from the top, is a fucking dome of oppression.
Depending upon the morality of the person handing down the teachings,
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
If it's Pastor Corey, then yes, the morality of the person handing down the teachings is high enough that it's trying to make you do positive things.
Yes.
If it's Joel Osteen, then give me money, bitch.
Right.
Go fuck yourself.
Yeah,
And that's not high in morality.
No.
I would like to
It's
quote
the-
you.
but it's the same book. So morality doesn't come from the book. Morality comes from man itself.
Yeah.
The duality of man.
but there is a basis for
Well, it's not the whole book.
executing.
It focuses on not on the whole book.
It's an execution of the principles that are in the book, right?
Yeah. And so one of the major differences between like us and again
Sure.
the outlier of Joel Osteen is like we preach straight through books of the Bible. Like I just took our church through 4 months of the book of Nehemiah, line by line, every line. We had 4 chapters that were names, and we just boom rolled through. We rolled through that thing. That
And your
like,
sister picked that name? I'm sorry.
there
Go on.
was, like, all these names.
Goddamn 4 chapters to
That was
choose
great.
from.
Right.
You brought that back really
Right,
well.
right, thanks.
The difference, though, in those little subcultures that do, and that's anything, right? You have Buddhists that are sweet and gentle, monks that not gentle because they can freaking kill you, but you have these incredible monks, right? And then you have radical Buddhists. You have Muslims that are some of the nicest people I've ever met in the world, right? My wife went to Indonesia this last year.
It's the same
Met
religion.
Muslims that were unbelievable, and then you have radical Muslims. Well, you have Christians that are just trying to be well-meaning, just got mortgages to pay, trying to raise their kids.
And then you've got
And then you got Joel Osteen, who's a
Joel
radical
Osteen or-
Christian with
or
in a prosperity way.
or that Baptist church that's crazy as
You
shit.
got Catholic folks. This is personal experience. I've only met one Catholic person in my whole tenure to being a Christian for 14 and a half years that I believed Jesus, like knew Jesus. Only one Catholic. But
I learned a
Get into
little.
the subject.
I learned a little Latin.
So
Yeah.
so
but
where
but you didn't learn a lot of the Bible, did
No,
you?
just Latin.
There was no nun in my school
What?
that fucking knew anything about. Well, they might have knew about it, but they sure beat the fuck out of us.
Oh,
And they
okay.
sure
So-
made everybody who was there feel
Yeah,
inferior and stupid.
So the question I always ask Catholics, because we do have we're reformed in doctrine and theology, which is the exact opposite of Catholicism.
Okay.
So there's 5 major points of Catholicism, and there's
Right.
5 major points of the Protestant Reformation.
Okay.
And we submit to like
99 principles stamped on the door.
But a bitch ain't
the
one.
thesis.
That's Martin
Yeah.
Luther.
Yeah. He
99.
did the
I
95.
got 99 principles.
I
Kyle Hollis
got
says I'm in
99
one.
99.
Yeah,
Right.
well, I love Martin Luther. Then he got a little crazy in his end days, and that's all he gets a rap for. But I don't think he would do anything that the Lutheran Church is doing unless they're living on mission and changing the world. But Martin Luther's dope, dude. He's a great biology,
Sure.
great biography.
Yeah.
Anyway, all that to say, like, there's always outliers and subcategories in every section of
Oh, sure.
humanity.
Oh, dude, right now, there's great cops and there's fucking shitty cops.
Yeah.
Yeah, so same thing.
Because it's the duality of man, and that's where morality lies, is in the duality of man.
Where's that duality?
So
come
where was before the
The
books
book.
where before the books
Comes in the book.
before the books existed, because they were both written at some point in time, before they were written, where did it come from?
Hey, have you ever been,
From the book.
Intelligent
Chuck, you ever
design.
been in a real fucked up situation?
Lots of real fucked up situations.
So, me too. And I've always said one thing. God, if I can get out of this, I'll be fucking right.
Oh, dude, there's no atheist in foxholes is a true thing.
I just figure out how to get out of it.
Life
You don't
is
say
hard.
that to yourself?
No.
Never say that to yourself. Not only have I not said, I've said that to myself so many times.
But then again,
I would literally go, Jesus, give
Please
me.
help me.
No, yeah, for
but
real.
Then again,
Oh, yeah.
we have all been at this point. 90% of the population has been indoctrinated to believe that you would, in a fucked up situation, you would say, "God, help me out," because you were indoctrinated.
What is it? A jelly?
Indoctrinated.
Is it a Jelly Roll song? I only talk to God when I need some.
Because you
When I
were
need a favor or something.
indoctrinated
Yeah.
that exists and that is there.
I only talk to God when I need a
Because
favor.
you were taught from a very
wish I had
young
headphones
age
on. Yeah,
that
that's good.
is there. Now, if you were taught from a very young age that it was Enlil and Inkai, the aliens from Samaria, if you were taught at a very young age that it was Enlil and Inkai that
Whoa.
you prayed to, you wouldn't say, "God, I hope I get out of this." You would
That's
say,
what I was saying.
"You would
That's
say,
what I was saying from the beginning.
This is important.
Enlil,
This is
please help
important
me
to
get
prove
out
our
of
point.
this."
Yes, but also you weren't taught that because it wasn't sufficient enough to sustain a country and the birth of a whole country. what was necessary to save us from a monarchy was the
Oh
law
no,
of God.
no, sir, you will not go there.
It's
No,
on the
sir.
money, bro.
No,
sir.
It's on the money.
I do not care. You will
It's
not
on-
go there.
it's on
You-
that
Let
money.
me tell you why you won't go there. Because Benjamin Franklin was a Luciferian. George Washington was a Luciferian. Andrew Jackson was a Luciferian. Thomas Jefferson was a Luciferian. John Hancock was a Luciferian. All well-documented Luciferians.
Well, then maybe Lucifer
Every one
did
of
write
them.
the Bible because
Every
everything
one of
they
them,
built
well-documented
America on
Luciferians.
was on Judeo-Christian.
But it
ethics
wasn't.
and
But no,
morality.
but it was not.
But it was.
It was not.
I got a-
It was not.
speaking.
100% was not.
I got a
What does it
Frank.
say? Satan or God?
I got a-
100% one.
I got a-
Satan we trust.
Okay.
Oh, that's what it says.
Money is the root of all evil, and it says God on it.
No,
Oh,
the
yeah.
pursuit
Thank you.
of money.
Thank you.
The pursuit of money
Thank you.
is what
you
is
got so
evil.
many
That's
blue
greed.
faces over there.
That's greed right there. Greed.
I got 3, bro. It's
Greed.
not a lot.
That's greed.
It's a lot for me. I'm a pastor.
That is one of the 7 deadly sins right there. Greed.
Yeah. At the same
So-
time, and then you
so-
could get into
It's not on
slavery,
there
you
anymore.
get into all the other things.
We
right?
we were not founded. This country was not founded by Christians.
might not say it anymore.
This
doesn't say it
country
anymore.
was founded on the belief of
Well, it-
freedom of religion. And
not true.
and not yes, it is.
That's
100% true. 100% true.
That's not true, bro. Because
Well documented.
You had Ohio
don't
churches
give-
benefiting from taxes until like the 60s. So that's not true.
That doesn't mean anything. That's government. That's
Yeah.
because at some point in time, somebody took control and figured out that Christianity
There you
works
go.
really, really well as a political
From the-
system.
from the
and so
onset
they
of the
started.
country?
No, absolutely not.
It's true.
The
Dude,
country was founded by Luciferians, not by Christians.
All right.
based off some random book, sure.
So
this is
Based
the argument.
off-
Hey, this is
based
the
off-
argument. This is the argument.
Based
everybody
off a
wants.
history book. Based
So-
off a history
Written by
book.
some white man.
fucking white people.
Fucking
fucking
crack ass cracker.
fucking
Hey,
crack ass crack
Hey,
motherfucker.
what color was King James again? Thank you.
Crack ass cracker.
So
Of course, he didn't write the book. He just had the book written.
we're gonna end on a little conspiracy. So do you see how the faces that it says "In God We Trust" on this coin, right? So there's quarters out now where the face doesn't face it. It goes the other direction.
Doesn't matter because money is representation of one of the 7 deadly sins.
And I
which
think
is
we're
greed.
clearly
What?
in a post-Christian
Greed?
society. So.
Yes,
No, greed is different than money.
absolutely not. Money is the
Absolutely
pursuit of all evil
no.
because
Fuck
of
you.
greed. Because
No,
of greed.
I will
100%.
fucking go toe to toe all day on that.
100%.
No,
100%.
there's a difference because I can work all day, and in my head, what I'm trying
Okay.
to do is provide for my family.
Okay. Nope.
Nope. No,
Nope.
I'll go one better.
No.
Nope.
If you choose money over
Nope.
fucking humanity,
We had this discussion
That is-
a
Who you gonna
couple,
spend it
couple
with?
episodes ago.
huh?
Who are you going to spend it on?
The family.
That's
Well, I'm
greed.
saying if you
No,
choose
that's
money
greed.
over humanity.
No, that's
100%
what.
that's greed. 100% that's
No,
greed.
no. If you choose money
Uh-huh.
over someone else, over a human being,
Uh-huh.
that's greed.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So if you make money doing your thing,
Okay.
then that is not greed.
Okay. So you can have what?
So I can what?
So you can have.
So I can provide,
you
so I can clean a neighborhood,
So you
so I
choose-
can fucking-
So you choose, Drew. I'm gonna attack you. I'm sorry. It's not personal. You're just the best reference I have right now. So you sacrifice time with your children, time with your wife, time with your family, in the pursuit of money, so that you can have those 2 nice cars, that nice ass house, all these nice ass things, all the bling you carry around.
Flare.
Blah blah blah,
Flare.
et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera,
I
et
call it
cetera,
flare.
et cetera, et cetera,
Flare.
et cetera, et cetera. What's he doing?
Working.
What's he doing?
Working.
He's sacrificing time with his family and children for all these things.
That's not greed. That's not greed. I don't agree.
That's not true
No,
because that's
no,
like
no,
that's
no.
saying that
You
anytime
do not need those things.
All right,
you
Drew-
do
Drew-
not
Drew
need
is on
those
you, so
things.
go ahead.
You do
No,
not need
no,
those.
if
But
I
do,
was
do you
30
agree?
seconds,
Do
I'm
you
out.
need those things?
No.
All right
Here's the-
then.
here's the
It's
thing.
greed.
No, it's not greed. Because if it was greed, I would spend 30 seconds to everybody see instead of 20 or 30 minutes. I have done that my whole entire time in my office.
You would spend what?
I would spend 15 or 30 seconds with people. I could adjust your back in 30
Listen,
seconds.
I-
No. But shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up.
Damn.
Well, this is
Shut
real.
the fuck up.
Finish.
I will fuck you up right now. I'm not kidding. I'll come across the table and fuck you up.
Finish.
You want me to fuck you up?
Finish.
Finish.
Finish the words.
I spend the time I spend with people because I care. It's not because of greed. If I choose to get those things because I have it, it's on me. If I was greedy, I would spend 30 seconds with somebody adjusting them and see 100 people a day. But I see 90 people a week. right?
Right.
So fuck you.
Listen.
So fuck
Calm
you.
down. Calm the
No.
fuck down. I wasn't attacking
Stop.
you.
Let's go.
I wasn't attacking
Hey.
you.
Hey,
Okay?
You were.
I wasn't.
You don't
I
know what the fuck
wasn't.
you're talking about.
I wasn't attacking you, Drew. It was just a good reference because we discussed it a couple podcasts ago. That's it. That's it. It was just a reference. I wasn't attacking you. You're a good person, and that's why you spend that time. 100%. I wasn't attacking you. Don't take it personally. I said that in the beginning. Don't take it personally. It's not an attack. It's just the example because we spoke about it just a few podcasts ago. So it's fresh in the brain. All right? Wasn't attacking you. You're a good person. You're a good man. Right? It's not greed in your case, but you can live without those things. You want those things. You deserve those things. Nobody's saying you don't deserve those things. You want those things. You deserve those things, but you don't have to have those things. So just because you're a good man, there is still a level of greed in that. You're taking greed as this bad, as just this all-around horrible fucking word when it's not. That's not how I'm using it.
Clearly an offensive word.
That's not how I'm using it.
Right.
It's not how I'm using it. I'm
Based
using
off
it
body
as
language is how you're using it.
I'm using it as because Drew's mad right now because he doesn't understand what I'm saying exactly. I'm trying to explain it to him, but since he's mad, he's not listening.
he's listening.
So it's not. It's
You're
not
right.
this horrible, terrible, terrible thing. We have to have that stuff. We want that stuff. We deserve that stuff. You deserve
watch
that
me.
stuff.
It's attack
I
on
deserve
character.
that stuff.
So
But I'm not attacking his character because I know he's a good man.
what I'm saying is you don't get to determine that because it's not your character, it's his character. It's like
Okay.
looking at a piece of art, right, and defaming it or defacing it in front of someone. It's, you gotta
Well,
watch
everybody's
that.
going to have their opinion. Right.
Yeah.
Understandable.
And so it's hurtful.
But I'm not attacking his character because I know he's a good man.
Yeah.
I know he's a good dude. I know he's a great dude. He's a lovely human being, right? I know he cares about people. I know he cares about his family.
Probably good to change the subject.
And I'm
I
not.
fought Drew
I'm
a
not
lot.
attacking
I don't
him.
wanna fight him right now.
I'm not attacking him. Well, he still thinks I was attacking him, and I'm not attacking him. You were just sorry, Drew, but you were just fresh on the mind example. So.
One thing we can all agree on is you don't want to fight Drew.
No, I don't want to fight Drew, and I wasn't trying to attack him. I wasn't. I'm sorry it came out that way. I'm sorry he feels that way about it. I wasn't trying to attack him. That was just the example. And I'm not using greed as a completely and totally nefarious, as a just this horrible word.
Yeah.
But there is a certain level, like you can be homeless and be just fine. You can be homeless and be just fine. We don't have to have these things. We want these things. We deserve these things. We work to have these things, but we don't have to have these things. So 100% the pursuit of these things in a form is greed.
Yes, sir.
It doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't make you, which Drew thinks I was saying it makes him a bad person.
Also
It doesn't
comes
make
down
him
to-
a bad person.
It comes down to worldview.
Doesn't make me a bad person. Doesn't make Mike a bad person. Doesn't make you a
Well,
bad
what are
person.
you saying too? It comes
Makes-
down to
makes Joel
worldview,
Osteen a bad
right?
person.
If you were born being raised thinking about these other gods, you would have this different worldview and perspective. But the reality is, we're born as Americans,
Right.
and so the American dream,
Is to have
even
those
if
things.
you're not chasing the American dream, you know, as someone who's kind of anti some of those things, like Drew would be, is like this is kind of what we know, you know.
Right, to have those things. Right. It's inset in us. It's we were generations
doctrine all right up.
old. Generations old.
So
I'll
this
let
was episode
I'll let him calm down. I'll let him
134.
calm down.
This is episode 134, the first in 134 episode where one of the hosts runs out.
Gets mad.
Drew, love you. All
Yeah,
right,
Drew, I love you too, buddy. I didn't mean to offend you.
like, share, subscribe.
You just leave it. That's awesome. It's real life.
Thanks for watching. Friends fight.
We'll let him
Friends
calm
fight.
down and see if I can explain it to him. He's